Mark, skies have cleared here in Hamilton. The stands at Ivor Wynne just beginning to fill up. The Ticats are banking on their largest crowd of the season. Seems if one thing moves the fans here, it's the annual Labor Day visit of the Argonauts. Tonight, the longest-standing rivals in the Canadian Football League, the Argonauts and Ticats, make the turn for home, having completed the first half of their schedules. Games 1 through 9 have served to produce numerous faces of uncertainty on both sides. Tracy Ham sits and watches as someone else quarterbacks the Argos. Dennis Meyer, the head coach, faces daily rumors he'll be replaced. Hamilton quarterback Don McPherson, banished to the sidelines for 2 games, returns to start tonight. John Gregory's been trying to hold the team together while the franchise has been drowning in a sea of red ink. But if nothing else, Hamilton fans believe their team will dominate the Argos on Labor Day. Tiger Cats have won 4 of the last 5 classics. The Argonauts need to stop the trend.
The CFL on CBC. Tonight, from Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton, the Toronto Argonauts against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Tiger Cats have tried everything to get fans into Ivor Wynne Stadium this season. To this point, the most effective form of marketing is a Labor Day meeting with the Argonauts. Regardless of how troubled this franchise is, this traditional holiday weekend game between longtime rivals still seems to mean something. Welcome to Hamilton for the second of our Labor Day Classics. I'm Scott Oak. Ticats are expecting a crowd in the area of 25,000 tonight, which will be by far their largest of the season. And if the Cats are to reward their fans, as they usually do on Labor Day, they'll have to focus in a way they've been unable to during a 6-game skid. Here is a direct quote from head coach John Gregory, who railed at his players this week. He says, "I'm tired of our football team not being focused, and to hell with everything else." Everything else would range from talk of the omnipresent financial crisis to outrageous rumors of the team moving to Halifax. So under the circumstances, focusing is easier said than done. But if ever there was a game in which the Cats should be able to concentrate, it's this one, because it's Labor Day. The Argos are here, so are the fans, and Hamilton desperately requires a victory, and they're sending Don McPherson out as the quarterback to get it for them. He's back in the starter's role after 2 games as the backup. Just as desperate for victory are the Toronto Argonauts, who've had lots of distractions of their own. And to talk some more about that, here are James Curry and Don Whitman.
Thank you, Scott. Hi, everybody. Dennis Meyer, James, has been in his job as head coach of the Argos for less than a year. But I guess when you're 1-8, you expect to hear rumors about your future.
Well, they've been struggling somewhat as an organization this year, Don. They had that mass trade in the offseason where they brought in a lot of players, but they also changed the offense. They retooled it, and they did not bring in players that were conducive for the system that they were bringing in. And Dennis Myers has felt pressure as a coach in this new system. The team has just not been able to get on track offensively or defensively.
They thought Tracy Ham, acquired from Edmonton, would be able to handle the run and shoot. Now there are rumblings that he may be traveling down the QEW.
Well, there's been some talk about that. Tracy's been backing up in the past couple of weeks, first Kerrigan, and now he's backing up the young rookie Reggie Slack, who they brought in a couple of weeks ago. And Tracy is not the type of quarterback that needs to be sitting on the bench, but the move might not be a bad one if it does come about.
Both teams desperate for a win in this Labor Day Classic at Ivor Wynne. Scott?
Don, the weather is perfect here now. There's excitement at Ivor Wynne Stadium, so it's all working so far. It just remains for the Argos and Ticats to play the kind of game they usually do on Labor Day. The kickoff is next.
I used pressure-treated lumber and still have expensive water damage.
Back at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton, the Argos and Ticats are heading for kickoff. First, let's update you on the one-sided classic in Calgary earlier today. The Eskimos made their annual visit to McMahon Stadium on Labor Day. Doug Flutie threw a couple of touchdown passes to Will Moore. This one early in the 4th quarter was on a rope. Moore brought it in to make it 22-7. It ended 33-13, and Don, the Stamps are unbeaten in the second half of their season. 10-0, 8 to go for the perfect year.
Yes, they are looking at a possible perfect season.
James, do you see anybody who's going to beat them?
Well, it's going to be quite tough for some team right now to derail the Calgary Stampeders the way they've been playing. They've been very fortunate. They've been able to dodge injuries, and that's a key in being undefeated this season, Don.
The Toronto Argonauts will kick off. Wayne Lamley, who has replaced Hank Olisic for the past 4 games, the veteran punter out with a quad injury, getting set to get this game underway. Winfield and Burbage are back for the opening kickoff. A beautiful evening at Ivor Wynne Stadium on a day that started out with heavy overcast and rain. Burbage on the kickoff return is going to be pushed back after getting up to about the 38-yard line. Kevin Whitley made contact with him and drove him back. A 9-yard return after a 45-yard kickoff. Don McPherson returns to quarterback the Hamilton Ticats after giving way to Bob Torrance for the past 2 games. And he has Ken Evrere returning to a slot back position as one of his receivers. The offensive line remains the same with Dale Sanderson operating as the center. Don McPherson looking to get his passing game on track. He hasn't been able to throw a touchdown pass since the 16th of July. Sideline pattern, he was looking for Mazzoli over his head, incomplete. It will be 2nd and 10.
Well, McPherson hasn't had a good game since that point, Don, and it's very important for him to come out and have a good start early in this contest.
Defensively, the Argos have made a number of changes. Darryl Milburn will play defensive tackle in place of Harold Hallman. Don Moen moves to an inside linebacking position in returning. 3 newcomers in the secondary. 2nd and 10. The ball is just across the 38-yard line. McPherson throws deep. He's got Mazzoli wide. Burbage wide open. Mazzoli for a big game.
Well, this is what McPherson needs. The Argonauts are coming out with the 3 rookie defensive backs. He's able to survey the field. The offensive line is giving an adequate amount of time. Mazzoli running a post route wide open in the seam. The safety, Van Bellingham, not Van Bellingham, has to come over and take him down. Hughes, Perkins, the fullback, stepping up on Whitley, the rookie defensive back, giving McPherson time.
Well, if McPherson needed a boost for his confidence, that will certainly do it. Starting the game with a big strike to Mazzoli. Perkins, the ball carrier. He was stopped by Rodney Harding. McPherson was asked yesterday if his confidence was shaken due to the fact that he wasn't having any success and he had been replaced by Bob Torrance. He said not in the least. He still believes he can do the job.
And that's what you need from your quarterback position. They made some changes, but he was still a student of the game and sit back and observe what Torrance had been doing while he was not starting.
2nd and 9. Evrere grabs the pass. Evrere cuts it back into the middle for a first down at the 21.
That's one of the big tools that McPherson had been missing in his struggling times at quarterback. Ken Evrere has been out for the past 4 games. Last year's Shinley nominee as the outstanding Canadian of the East, and now he's back in the lineup. McPherson going for the last year's favorite target. McPherson on an out route, being able to turn back towards the middle of the field and pick up extra yardage after the reception.
Conduct. Hamilton number 17. Objectionable conduct. Toronto number 99. After the ball was dead. First down.
Campbell and Evrere.
Evrere taking a little exception to being slammed back down to the ground by Mike Campbell, and McCampbell picked up the ball and slammed it against Evrere one other time. I didn't see where Kenny had done anything wrong on the play.
14 yards the gain. McPherson to Evrere. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 21. McPherson checking off at the line of scrimmage. He gives it to Perkins. Perkins bounces to the outside. and picks up about 3. Coach John Gregory was saying that one of the keys to success today for the Ticats would be the running of Bruce Perkins.
Well, Bruce Perkins, a big back out of Arizona State, has to get his shoulders turned upfield. He can't run parallel to the line of scrimmage. He needs to get turned up where he can face the defensive backs one-on-one, trying for a simple off-tackle hitter. The Argos are able to stretch this one out. Ken Benson holding the corner very well, getting some help from his secondary on the tackle.
Nick Mazzoli comes back into the ball game, replacing Joey Yock. McPherson rolling to his left. This is when he's most dangerous, when he's coming out of that pocket, and he'll be close to a first down, getting to about the 10-yard line.
Well, a critical mistake made by the Argonauts on that play. Brian Warren has not been having the year that they want this year on the outside linebacker position. He lost contain on Don McPherson as he got to the corner. Bushy did a tremendous job of pinning the corner, getting Warren inside. McPherson did the right thing, pulled the ball down, hit for the sticks.
Conduct. Toronto number 99. First down.
Mike Campbell gets flagged again. His second rough play call.
Little more over-aggression from Mike Campbell. You cannot do those things when you're a struggling ball club with only one victory. Mike Campbell has put his team in terrible position down at the 5-yard line. But also Hamilton being in the red zone, they have to learn how to execute to get into the end zone for the touchdown.
Ticats have taken the ball from the opening kickoff down to the 6. Bruce Perkins will pick up a couple of yards, driving to about the 4. He had a 100-yard rushing game against the Edmonton Eskimos, and Coach John Gregory feels that he is the key to the running attack of the Hamilton Ticats.
And he hasn't done bad. He's averaging 5.2 yards a carry, which is quite adequate when you're looking at that from the running back position. But right down here, McPherson needs to get outside, buy himself some time.
Burbage is wide left. Winfield lines up to the right. McPherson looks into the end zone. Incomplete. Mazzoli and Winfield were in the area, but I think it was Mazzoli McPherson was looking for.
He was expecting Mazzoli to turn that one up. What he did, he was continuing to the sideline. He had rolled out, got outside the tackle. He saw the field. He expected for Mazzoli to go out and up. Mazzoli just stayed to the outside, and miscommunication by the two players.
Paul Osbaldiston will attempt to put the Ticats on the board. Todd Wiseman will hold. This will be a 12-yard field goal attempt. No problems for Paul Osbaldiston with 10:19 remaining in the opening quarter. Black, the starting quarterback, is coming off a great performance in his last outing on the 26th of August against the Ottawa Roughriders. 444 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Unfortunately, the Argos lost the game in the final seconds. He dumps it off to Pat Jackson, and he takes it up to the 42-yard line. He's brought down there by John Moten. Slack, a second consecutive game as the starting quarterback. Pat Jackson is in as a running back. Coach Dennis Meyer likes the speed of Pat Jackson. Pierre Verchevel, in his first game as an Argo, playing center with Blaine Schmidt shifting to guard. On second down, the pass is complete for what should be a first down to Wally Zatilny, the former Hamilton Ticats. Once one of the most popular performers in Steeltown, and as one might expect, drawing a chorus of boos from the fans at Ivor Wynne. This is the way the Ticats line up defensively, anchored by John Moten in the middle. Rookie Michael O'Shea is having an outstanding season outside. Roger Henning moves into the safety position as the starter ahead of Todd Wiseman for this game against the Argos. First and 10. The ball is at the 47. Clark makes the catch in the sidelines and should have another Toronto first down.
Well, Finch gambled on that play, and that's what you got to do. If you're going to make that gamble, you got to make sure that you get your hands on the ball. And Finch took the gamble. Clark was able to cradle that one in, and if not for some secondary help coming from his friends, he might have gone a long ways on that pass. You'll see Clark right here. Great concentration knowing that Finch is coming in, and he was able to pick up 13 yards on it after the reception.
1st and 10 from the 50-yard line. The artificial turf at Ivor Wind very wet from the heavy rain that fell earlier today. Slack unable to get the pass away, and down he goes at the 52-yard line. David Bailey and Ramel Andrews prevented him from throwing.
Romel Andrews has had somewhat of a slow start in the first half of the season, but he's picked up the tempo here this afternoon, and that's what Hamilton needs. You'll see Romel getting blocked one-on-one up front by Smith, but working hard, staying after it, and finding Reggie Slack as he tries to get out of the pocket. Reggie is somewhat slow of foot. He has the bad leg, and his mobility is not the best.
2nd and 16. The Argos have backed up to their own 53-yard line. 7:28 remaining in the opening quarter. They trail by a score of 3-0. This is the 27th time these teams have met on Labor Day, and David Bailey takes Slack down for another Hamilton sack.
David Bailey making the move this season from the rush end to the weak side end. Had to make a tremendous adjustment. Used to standing up, surveying the backfield at all times. Now he's down in the three-point stance, working one-on-one against Kerry Yarenko, the left offensive tackle. Bailey makes a great inside move. Slack is there. When he can't throw the ball in that three-step drop, he's very vulnerable. That's what the run and shoot is designed around, a three-step and pitching.
John Gregory was saying that we have been unfocused for so many weeks. As a team, we have to line up and play. And the Ticats have lined up and have been playing so far in this opening quarter. Burbridge takes the 3rd down punt and won't go anywhere as he's surrounded by Argos at the 14. 6:49 remains in quarter 1.
What do you say?
Cats will scrimmage 1st and 10 from their own 14-yard line. David Bailey followed up a sack by Ramel Andrews to drop Reggie Slack.
And this is what the Ticats need more of. Bailey came into this game with only 3 sacks, picking up his 4th here. We saw 2 nights ago in Ottawa, O.J. Brigance having a field day in the Ottawa backfield. Possibly going to happen this afternoon with the Ticats in the Argos backfield.
Earl Winfield goes wide right. A handoff straight ahead to Perkins, and Perkins will be stacked up after a pickup of about 1. As I mentioned earlier, this is the 27th time these two teams have met in this Labor Day Classic. The Ticats with a big edge. They've won 20 times.
Well, trying to establish the running game here early in the contest, I don't know if that's what the Ticats need to do. They need to spread the field, get McPherson moving around to open up some wider seams in the defensive front.
Fake inside on 2nd down. The pass to Winfield incomplete. Lewis and Dave Van Bellingham were covering Earl Winfield. That's one of the problems that the Ticats have had, is getting the ball into the hands of Earl Winfield.
Well, he needs to touch the ball more than 2 to 3 times a contest. And that time, excellent coverage by Trahan Lewis. And he did a tremendous job on Winfield, but the ball was a little high. McPherson right now is trying to force it. Instead of playing that short passing game, he's still trying to go deep.
Mike Clemens and Darren Hughes are back for the 3rd down punt by Paul Osbaldiston. Clemens basically will be used only on special teams in tonight's football game. He handles the line drive by Osbaldiston, looks for a couple of blocks, doesn't get it, and Dave Dinal is the first to make contact with him. A 42-yard punt, a 9-yard run back. Earlier today, the Calgary Stampeders kept their perfect record intact with a 33-13 win over the Edmonton Eskimos. So as a result, the Stampeders now have a 14-point advantage over the BC Lions. Winners on Saturday night, 25-24 over Ottawa. Saskatchewan and Edmonton tied with 12 points. 6 points between Calgary and BC.
Well, a tough loss for Saskatchewan yesterday on the waning moments of that game, and losing it by a field goal after that sellout crowd once again at Taylor Field.
1st and 10, the ball at the 48. Slack is in trouble again. Slack is going to run and slide into the 40-yard line. And again, it was David Bailey putting pressure on him.
Able to get up in his face. If you look at Slack, he's a classic run and shoot quarterback, trying to half row, get the ball off on 3 steps. You don't block from the backside, and fortunately he was able to avoid Cofield as he came from the backside and pick up 8 yards on the run. Tracy Ham on the sideline. Tracy's become a student of this run and shoot now. He's spent a lot of time observing it the past couple of weeks.
2nd and 2, Toronto. The ball is at the 40-yard line. Slack's pass incomplete. It was over Hazard's head, and it will be 3rd and 2.
Roger Henning had an opportunity to catch that one. I don't think that he was looking for the football, and he didn't make the proper break on it. But if he had to pick that one off, he might have gone a long way. Inserted into the lineup tonight. Coach Gregory mentioned yesterday, every time he's in the game, he seems to make big plays.
Lance Chomick will attempt a field goal of 48 yards. He's been good on 13 of 17 so far this year, and his longest was at Taylor Field in Regina, a 52-yard kick. It's blocked. Chomick racing back after it, along with Andrew Murray, and Murray comes up with the football back at the 41, but the Ticats will take over there.
Another big break by the Ticat defense. This is the inspiration that Gregory had spoke about that his team needed. They had been playing kind of flat.
4:12 is the time remaining in the opening quarter.
Quote, a mid-size Dodge Dakota with optional 230 horsepower Magnum V8 outpowers, outhauls, and just plain outpulls even full-size 5-liter V8s from Ford and Chevy. Unquote. Dodge trucks with Magnum engines, the most powerful line of trucks anywhere.
Over 1 million Canadians have diabetes, but half don't know it. Chronic fatigue can be a warning sign of diabetes. Don't ignore it. Please see your doctor, because so much can be done.
Lubo Zizakovic, 6'7", 270 pounds, credited with blocking the Lance Chomick field goal attempt.
And he used all of that 6'7" to get after that football. If you look at Lubo, he's right here in the middle, and you'll see him as he goes straight upfield. He'll get his arm up as Lance Chomick gets ready to kick, and it goes right off of his forearm. And that's what you teach those defensive linemen. Get that arm up in the air, perfect formation, blocks the kick.
And when you're 6'7", you also have an advantage to start with.
6'7" is a long ways up in the air, and once you reach that wingspan out, you're probably about 10 feet up in the air. And it was a great spot by Murray. Got it down perfectly on time. Mechanics by Chomick were good on the play. Just great effort by the Ticat defense.
Zizakovic primarily playing on special teams, and the backup coming up with a key play
and
for the Ticats.
His motor's still running, sitting there. He's still wired up.
Hamilton takes over 1st and 10. The ball is at the Toronto 42 with 4:09 remaining in the opening quarter, and the Ticats leading 3-0. McPherson tried to dump it off for Abraire as he was being pressured by Harding and Campbell. It will be 2nd and 10.
We'll get rid of one more.
What McPherson is doing right now is he's coming with the ball's sidearm. He's not coming over the top, and that's the reason why the ball is floating. Kenny Abraire, working one-on-one, had stepped out of bounds prior to that ball arriving, and even if he had caught that one, it would have been an incompletion.
Yock comes into the ball game. Mazzoli goes out. 2nd and 10, Hamilton from the 42. Abraire makes the catch down at the 13 and takes it to the 8.
Don McPherson showing no signs of rust over the past couple of games. Kenny Abraire working a post slant route, 34-yard reception down to the 8-yard line. Don McPherson right now has to feel very comfortable. You look at Rivera working against one of those rookie defensive backs, Whitley that time, getting the separation as the ball arrives, getting inside the 10. Once again, the Ticats in the red zone, Don.
Well, Don McPherson said yesterday, in 1987 at Syracuse, I led the nation in all passing statistics, so I have no reason to lack confidence in my passing ability. And he can also run. But he won't get into the end zone. He's forced out of bounds. I think they'll spot it at the 1.
That's what McPherson brings to this club, is his mobility. Getting outside, a run all the way designed for McPherson. Getting to the corner, beating Keith Costello around the corner. Don Bone in hot pursuit, diving just short of the end zone down to the 1-yard line. You got the big back Perkins in the backfield. This is where you let him do the job.
Second and goal from the 1-yard line. McPherson will keep. Touchdown.
That's what the Ticats really needed, and early in this contest, they needed a major score. The first time down, they had to settle for the field goal. McPherson doing some things that he had not done in his past couple of starts, utilizing his mobility. His mobility got him down to the 1. He let that offensive line come with the surge to get him in the end zone for the first major of the game.
It's interesting that the Ticats, when they won their first 3 starts, scored first in all 3 games. In the 6th that they have lost, the opposition scored first.
There's a happy fan right there also who just scored with a football.
Paul Osbaldiston adds the point after. So with 2:25 remaining in the opening quarter, the Ticats now lead it by a score of 10-0.
Well, this crowd here at Ivor Wynn is really pumping it up. McPherson, you can see he get that head and shoulders down and rides Mike Sanderson right in, Daryl Sanderson right into the end zone. Thomas Benson coming over the top just a little too high. That offensive line right there getting off the ball, reestablishing the line of scrimmage, and they placed it back in the end zone over the Argos.
Last year, when Hamilton defeated Toronto 27-24, 30,003 showed up at Ivor Wynn Stadium. Had it not been raining most of the day, they may have had a much bigger walk-up crowd and could have perhaps challenged the 30,000 who were here a year ago. They had just over 20,000 tickets sold as of yesterday, but I'm sure the rain throughout much of the day changed the minds of folks who may have been planning to come out.
Might have been a few fans that did drive in from Toronto because of that.
The pinball starts out from his 15-yard line and then is upset by Richard Nurse at the 32, a 20-yard return.
Great coverage by Richard Nurse, a backup receiver coming down the field. Pinball is one heck of an athlete in the open field, and Nurse brought him down in open field one-on-one.
But they'll re-kick it. There was a penalty flag back at the point of the kickoff.
Looked like an offside from where it's placed at.
Offside. Hamilton number 42. Re-kick, 5-yard penalty.
Jake Ireland is the referee here at Ivor Wynn Stadium for this Labor Day battle. So the ball will go back to the 30-yard line as the Ticats re-kick with 2:20 remaining in the opening quarter.
Well, Don, teams that are struggling will sometimes make those very critical mental mistakes, and that's no more than a mental mistake right there. You know that you shouldn't cross until the ball is kicked, and it's going to be an offsides if you do. And those are the things when you're struggling will hurt you. Fortunately enough, they have a lead right now, but they have to run down for a second consecutive coverage team. Going to be a little winded on this trip.
The adrenaline is probably pumping as well due to the fact they're leading 10-0 and this crowd is most supportive.
That will get the adrenaline. As we saw Ziskovic on the sideline, he was really pumped up after that blocked field goal.
Clemens will get another chance, this time from the 22. And he brings it back to the 46. The ball came loose, but the play had been whistled dead. Todd Wiseman made the tackle after a 24-yard return. Scott?
Well, Don, the Argos hope Pierre Vercheval, whom they got in that big free agent signing a couple of weeks ago, will solidify their offensive line. The line surely has been a problem tonight. Of the 5 starters tonight, only 2 have been with the team since the season opener, Chris Green and Blaine Schmidt, and they've been moved to different positions. They'd love to have Chris Schultz back, but it won't be this year. He tore his knee in game 1. Therapy didn't work. So on Thursday, Schultz underwent surgery. and his season is now a write-off, and so it's Vercheval at center who is the anchor of the O-line for the Argos now.
And Blaine Schmidt had played center through the first 9 games of the season. He is playing left guard. Vercheval was a guard when he played in Edmonton. Jackson, the ball carrier, picking up a couple of yards. The Toronto coaching staff very impressed with Jackson's speed. They liked him in training camp, but he was injured in a preseason game and hasn't been able to suit up since.
He had the knee injury, and he went back home to the States to get rehabilitation on the knee and got a call a couple of weeks ago from a doctor saying that the knee was fine. They brought him back in, but back to that offensive line, it takes some time to develop continuity with those big guys up front. One game won't do it, but hopefully Pierre will be able to stay in there all night and give some support.
2nd and 6. 3 receivers line up to the left. Here comes pressure from the backside. Cofield was picked up. The pass over the head of Robert Clark. That's one of the things against the run and shoot that the Ticats thought they might be able to do, was get some pressure from the backside.
Well, they have good speed at the end with Cofield and Bailey. Bailey last year's rushing, now on the backside weekend. Both of those guys can run. And you saw Cofield coming around. Pierre Vercheval was having to come back out of the center position to peel back to get a hand on him, pushing past Slack. Otherwise, you might have saw the 3rd sack of the evening for the Ticats.
And Warren Hudson also was able to pick up Cofield as he was charging at quarterback Reggie Slack from the backside. An end-over-end kick by Lamley, and it will go out of bounds. Not a very good kick at all, as they'll spot it at the 34-yard line. A 27-yard punt.
Feeling the pressure coming from his right side, and Lamley angling that one out, didn't get all of it. An end-over-end kick, but good field position for the Ticats to start at their own 34-yard line. Very critical that Don McPherson doesn't get rattled, overzealous, and come out and mount another drive to move his team down the field.
Don McPherson started the first 7 games of the season for the Ticats, then gave way to Bob Torrance for the last 2, has regained his starting position and has impressed with his play in the opening quarter tonight. He fakes inside, throws to the sidelines, and it's way over the head of Nick Mazzoli.
Mazzoli looked like he might have broke that one off. McPherson was expecting him to do a post. Mazzoli did an out-up on it, but what he's doing is he's getting time. He's moving outside. He's moving his linemen around, pulling them out in front of him, and that time he had adequate time. He also had a seam where if he wanted to, he could have tucked that one down and ran with it.
Mazzoli goes to the bench. Joey Yock comes into the game. Second and 10 from the 34. This should be the final play of the opening quarter. Over the head of Burbage. He was being covered by Reggie Pleasant. And that is the final play of the opening quarter, with the Ticats leading by 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, Champion Family Fitness Centers is one of the proud sponsors.
Quote, a Dodge Ram pickup with a Magnum Cummins diesel has the power to out-torque, out-pull, just flat outwork Chevy and Ford diesels, unquote. Dodge trucks with Magnum engines, the most powerful line of trucks anywhere.
Mono, mono, get the mono, mono, get the mono, mono.
Funny thing about monofoam, just a little does a lot. You see, monofoam expands into larger holes and fills spaces other materials can't begin to fill. Just think of all the places you can spray in monofoam to seal air leaks and insulate against drafts. Specially formulated monofoam. It'll grow on you.
Mono, mono, get the mono, mono, get the mono, mono, get the mono.
Ever since he was a kid, Chris McGroarty has walked to town to enjoy the great taste of McDonald's. But this month, he's going more often than usual. Because September's taste of the month is the barbecue bacon burger. A quarter pounder with cheese topped with delicious barbecue sauce and sizzling bacon. And because, as of today, Chris isn't a kid anymore. The barbecue bacon burger. this month only.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Dodge Trucks, the most powerful line of trucks anywhere.
To start the second quarter, the Ticats are punting on third down. Osbaldiston stands at his own 20-yard line. Clemens is back with Jackson. Jackson takes the ball. And Jackson can't get to the outside. Hauled down by Michael O'Shea. Scott?
Well, Don, we talked about Reggie Slack's bad knee. He practices and plays with a brace. Bombers signed Slack in the offseason from the WLAF. The knee caused him to fail his physical in Winnipeg. They thought he'd be able to, or in fact thought he wouldn't be able to play all season. There's the brace he wears in practice. Got the same one on in the game. Bombers assumed he'd be safe on their practice roster. Winnipeg was a touch surprised, maybe even annoyed, when the Argos plucked Slack off the practice list. Fact remains, though, he's playing here, and so far the knee's holding up, but it makes the protection we talked about earlier doubly important, doesn't it?
I think you're more accurate when you say the Bombers were annoyed when the Argos lured him out of town on the 24th of July. Pass complete over the middle to Wally Zatilny. Zatilny spent 5 years with the Hamilton Ticats. He said yesterday he was anxious to play at Ivor Wynne for the first time in a Toronto uniform to see what kind of reception he would get.
Well, he came back to jeering boos at the start of this contest when they introduced the starting lineups and his name was called. And I think he got a little adrenaline rush from that, though.
First and 10. The ball is at the 49. Slack in trouble, but he finds a receiver open. Kip Lewis has a first down at the 44. In the first quarter, the Ticats 105 net yards to just 25 for the Argos. Not surprising in view of the fact that the Ticats are out in front by a score of 10-0.
On that last play, O'Shea came with a lot of pressure from the left side and got the Slack just as he released that ball, but Kip Lewis with great concentration and Warren Hudson with the little block to keep him off made the play work.
4 receivers line up to the left. Wright was coming from the backside, and he's after Slack. Slack throws the ball incomplete. He was looking for Manny Hazard.
Well, the Argos know that they're going to have to give Slack better protection than what they're doing right now. The Ticats know that they can get to him in the pocket, and if you look at them, they're bringing everybody they can to go in one-on-one coverage, but Hazard, was able to get open in the soft spot of the zone. You can't cover him with Moulton linebacker. There's just not enough foot speed there.
Hazard had an outstanding game against Ottawa. 10 receptions for 227 yards, only 19 yards shy of Terry Greer's club record. Second and 10. Hazard comes in motion across the formation. Slack is caught and dropped for a loss by Cofield.
Tim Cofield picking up the 3rd sack of the evening for the Ticats. Working from that rush-in position, working very hard. Starts outside, come with the stunt inside on Rotahux, is able to get inside, get his arms wrapped around Slack, drop him in the backfield for the big loss. Another big play for the Ticat defense.
John Gregory was saying that the Ticats had to get pressure up front, force Reggie Slack to throw quickly, and they would be adjusting their coverage to confuse Slack's reads, and I think that has worked to perfection so far for Hamilton. Lamley's 3rd down punt, handled by Burbage. Burbage stayed in the field of play. It looked for a moment as though he's going to step out of bounds. He brings it back to the 42.
Joshua Williams, baseball player, swimmer, and safety ambassador for the War Amps Champ program. Joshua knows what it means to play safe. During a boat ride, he got too close to the edge and fell overboard. The motor severed his leg. Now, he must wear an artificial one. Joshua has a warning for all children.
Don't let it happen to you. Play safe.
Yes. A message from the War Amps.
Welcome Welcome to Home Hardware's Paint Factory. On my right, your left, meet Dave. He's one of over 900 dealers. That's a lot of friendly advice. On my left, your right, meet Kathy. She makes over 10,000 gallons of paint a day. That's a lot of paint, which means you get a great price. Like this Beauty Tone Latex Interior-Exterior Primer for just $16.99. So, on my right, your left, friendly advice. On my left, your right, great price. So come on into Home Hardware before there's none left. Right?
Home Hardware, home of the handyman.
Over the years, one word has become synonymous with CBC News: commitment. Commitment, a tradition of superb journalism.
Canadians have seldom been more divided.
Commitment, more reporters in more places.
Of northern Ethiopia.
A dedication to the Canadian point of view.
About to affect Canada, too.
The result, unrivaled depth in news. Peter Mansbridge and Pamela Wallen co-anchor. CBC Primetime News tonight.
.12:04 remaining in the first half at Ivor Wynne. Burbage with a good punt return of 29 yards.
And this is what you expect from your punt returners. When they get the ball, you got Burbage here. He'll bring the ball up, catch a seam, make Costello miss, then bring it back upfield, and you'll see him with an excellent return on this play.
I think some of the Argos may have eased up, thinking that Burbage was about to step out of bounds. A shovel pass inside to Perkins, and Perkins will pick up about 8 yards.
Taking a page out of Winnipeg Blue Bombers playbook. They saw that quite often last week out in Bomber country. Matt Dunnigan ran it so well with Michael Richardson. Here you'll see McPherson flipping it off to the fullback, the running back Perkins, as he takes it up the middle. Big high stepping there up for 7 yards. Give him second and short.
Keith Poe thought he had McPherson all lined up.
Well, when you get a shot like that as a defensive lineman, you want to take it.
2nd and 2. Perkins, the ball carrier, he gets the first down, taking him to the 54 of the Argos, stopped by Keith Costello.
A nice cutback move that time by Perkins, starting out right, letting the floor of the defense move with him, able to come back underneath and pick up 6 yards on the run. That's what you expect for your running backs, to have great field vision, and that time he had it. You'll see him as he comes up here, as the Ticats linemen are pushing everyone down. He cuts back behind Mike Campbell for the yardage.
Back to the live action. It's Perkins again. And Perkins gets about 7 or 8 more. He runs hard. He runs effectively.
And that's what Gregory is expecting from his big back, to get his shoulders squared up and get to the line of scrimmage and pick up that yardage.
There haven't been many 100-yard rushing games this year in the Canadian Football League, but Bruce Perkins has one of them.
You see Michael Richardson from Winnipeg with 2 of those, along with Blaze Bryant from Winnipeg with the other.
2nd and 3. Perkins again. He won't get it. Stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Good defensive play by the Argos.
Excellent surge by the Argos defensive front. Keith Poe, Rodney Harding right there, along with Mike Campbell at the bottom of that. You'll see Rodney Harding, the veteran defensive tackle, coming up working one-on-one on Mike Richardson, the big tackle, driving him back off the ball. And that's what you have to do as a defensive lineman. Get your shoulders up underneath, create a new line of scrimmage, and stack everything up.
Poe was acquired by the Argos from the BC Lions along with Patrick Wayne on September 1st. Appears to be some confusion on the part of the Argos as to what players they should have on the field for this 3rd down punt by Paul Osbaldiston.
And they got a big break from Jake Ireland. He hadn't put the ball in place, so they were able to make all those substitutions.
They've got too many guys out there. They've got 14 players on the field.
That's an automatic first down for the Ticats.
This ball is going to bounce into the end zone, and Pinball will concede a single point. One of the officials had to throw his hat at the spot because he had already thrown his flag due to the fact the Argos had too many players on the field. They didn't have one extra, they had two extra, and there was confusion over on the Argo bench.
Almost looks like a laundry convention out on the field. When you talk about throwing his hat, every official decided he was going to get in on that call and threw his flag. But that's one of the things we spoke about, the mental errors. When you're under a pressure situation, when you haven't won in some time, and as the Argos are, and a lot of confusion, you're wondering who's in control on the sideline. You have a specialty team coach, but in their indecision whether they want to stay out defensively or send the punt return team out, they left two extra men on the field. And it's going to give the Ticats a first down to keep their drive alive. They can't afford that.
5-yard penalty on the bounce. Hamilton, number 12. First down.
Okay.
10 Argos at the line of scrimmage.
You got 3 back on the return.
And 1 wide.
And 1 wide. Somebody got to learn how to count in this defense.
Perkins, the ball carrier, as the Ticats retain possession. And I think John Gregory will be quite happy if Perkins can continue to run for 5, 6, and 7 yards per crack.
Well, he's churning it out, and what you'll do is that you'll eventually wear down a defense. You know, you look at the Argonauts defense, they've been on the field some time here in the first half. Bruce Perkins, the more a back carries the ball, seems the better and stronger that they become as the game progresses on. And he picked up 6 on his last carry.
2nd and 4, Hamilton. 8:36 remaining in the first half. Burbage can't hang on. Burbage was hit at about the same instant the ball arrived by the veteran corner, Reggie Pleasant.
The one surefire spot in their secondary, Reggie Pleasant, game in, game out, a consistent performer. McPherson with the 3-step drop, firing it out to Burbage. Burbage just couldn't grasp the ball. He let it get to his body. McPherson getting a lot on that pass. I mean, it hit Burbage right in the chest, but Pleasant was able to strip him off with the right hand to get that ball on the ground.
Paul Osbaldiston will attempt a field goal of 44 yards. He's only been good on 2 of 9 attempts from outside the 40-yard range this year, and this one is wide. And the pinball concedes a single point. It's now an 11-point Hamilton lead.
You're not going to find a job just like that. Most jobs need at least high school.
Yeah, dropping out will get me nowhere. I thought you wanted to be something. I do, but I can't take it anymore.
Whether you stay in school or drop out is your decision. For a free brochure that might help, call 1-800-461-2525.
I love long summer days, riding to work with the top down, running into people I know, hanging around the pool, trying to get to the bottom of it all, watching little things develop. So to keep going, I have a secret plan. A balanced diet including milk with energy plus 15 essential nutrients. Because I love long summer evenings.
This child is choking. Do something. If you don't know what to do, we can teach you. This accident just happened. Do something. If you don't know what to do, we can teach you.
In the first of our Labor Day Classics today, Calgary beat Edmonton 33-13, so you might say that was a classic, only as far as the Stampeders were concerned. Coming up on Live at the Half, we'll go to McMahon Stadium for a complete report on the game. The Ticats and Ottawa are on the cutting edge, Don, of trying to get women closer to the game of football. We'll have a report on that, and Roger Uketti will appear with us, the chairman of the board of the Ticats, to try and explain some of the rumors that have been making the rounds about his franchise.
Almost daily rumors about the Hamilton franchise. Jackson takes the inside toss out to the 44-yard line, stopped by John Moten. Edmonton and Calgary don't have a great deal of time, James, to get ready for the return engagement at Commonwealth Stadium. They play on Friday night.
Well, a grudge match even at that. Edmonton's going to feel a little sore after losing that game this afternoon. One of the few chances they had of catching the Stampeders. If they wanted to challenge for first place, somebody had to knock them off, and those head-to-head matchups within the division become very costly. Those are 4-point games.
7:27 with the clock running, the time remaining in the first half. 11-0 Hamilton leads. 2nd and 3. The pass is complete to Hazard. He's got a first down.
Manny Hazard coming off the big game last week against Ottawa, averaging 22.7 yards a reception, setting a club record in that aspect for over 10 catches in a contest. Right now, Slack has to be methodical about picking this team down the field. He cannot try to get it all back in one shot. He has to take what the defense is giving him right now.
Patience is the key word for Reggie Slack right now. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 52. 4 receivers left. Slack is looking to his right, trying to go back left. Cofield's got him.
Cofield, what they're doing up front defensively is stunning. You'll see Cofield lining up at the left end. He'll come around behind Andrews inside. They'll get the twist working, and he breaks through on Hudson and is able to get the sack. Andrews is right there also. One of them was going to get him, but a tremendous pressure by this Hamilton offensive front.
2nd sack for Cofield, 4 for the Ticats in the game. 2nd and 17, Toronto. Over the head of Wally Zatilny. Zatilny complaining to the official that he was impeded by Tim Jackson, but there was no flag. Michael O'Shea was pressuring quarterback Slack.
He was not going to get that. O'Shea was able to come in from his right linebacker position. As we noted early in the broadcast, they will not block from the backside, hoping that Slack can get the ball off on time. O'Shea was able to come through freely on a delayed blitz and hit Slack just as he was ready to release.
I don't know whether you would say O'Shea has been a big surprise, but they are very pleased in Hamilton with the way the rookie from Guelph has performed.
I think consistent would be the better word for that.
Lamley's 3rd down punt, taken by Winfield, the CFL leader in all-purpose yards. There's a penalty flag on the play as Winfield goes down at the 32 in the grasp of Dave Van Bellingham. A 41-yard kick, a 5-yard run back.
I think when you get to this level, you don't look at players as being surprises.
Face mask call against the Argos. Scott?
Take this game. Don Lee Knight's had to take this game off because of the cast on his arm. He's got to rest this hand, even though John Gregory said he was the best thing he had going for him in his offensive backfield. Lee, I want to ask you about the emotion on the Ticat bench. Do we sometimes have a tendency to overdo this business of how fired up the Ticats get on Labor Day?
Oh, this is Labor Day, Scott, and it's just natural. Guys get fired up, and this is the next best thing to the Grey Cup. And guys in the locker room, you tell the crowd, everybody's fired up, and we want to win.
So it's a classic as far as you're concerned.
Oh, it's classic, and I hate missing it because of this darn thing, but I got to let it heal.
Okay, Lee, thanks for your time. Don?
Yes, it was surprising last week in Winnipeg that Lee Knight, on one kickoff, was able to handle the ball with the cast in his hand. Earl Winfield didn't handle the ball very often against Winnipeg, except for the error he made when he kicked it out of the end zone. But his reception provides Hamilton with a 15-yard gain and another first down.
Earl does a tremendous job working here one-on-one down the right sideline. This is what a veteran player will do. He'll work. He knows where he's at on the field. His footwork is so excellent right here. He gets his feet down as he cradles that ball with his hands, doesn't let it get to his body and fall off.
5:16 remaining in the first half. 11-0 Hamilton leads Toronto. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 48 of the Argos. Fake inside to Perkins. McPherson throwing for Winfield. He can't make the catch. Covered by Lewis. Lewis underthrew Winfield just slightly because for a moment Winfield was wide open.
He did. McPherson getting outside, buying himself some time. But Lewis, as you mentioned, Don, the ball was underthrown. Winfield gave him a stop-and-go route, broke it off inside, had Lewis beat. But Lewis was able to close because the ball hung up. Got there just a little bit early, but the ref felt they got there at the same time. You got the 3 rookie defensive backs, Hughes, Whitley, and Lewis. These guys are going to have their hands full all night. First time that they started as a trio in the CFL.
McPherson now in the shotgun. 2nd and 10. Winfield on the sidelines, and this time Winfield doesn't make the catch.
Very disappointed Earl Winfield. McPherson got the ball to him. Those are the things that really make you upset when you get the ball to him. He was working one-on-one on Lewis, the rookie, out there once again, and he got him turned inside. Lewis is not aware where Winfield is going. He had great separation. The ball got to his shoulder pad and just ricocheted off. You'll see just a lack of concentration on Winfield's behalf because Lewis was down on the turf. You got to make those plays.
4:32 remaining in the half. Jackson takes the ball in the dead run. And Paul Bushy came flying across to make the tackle, but not before Jackson got to the 40-yard line, a 25-yard punt return.
Evans, Dixie, Freeway. The Power Price dealers break through with no money down and no payments until '94. Pay nothing and choose from over 900 new Ford and Mercury cars and trucks, all windshield power price to go. Plus hundreds of quality used cars. Leave your money in the bank. Just drive it away today and pay in '94. Only at your Power Price dealers. Dixie Ford on Dixie Road, just south of the 401. Evans, Lincoln, Mercury on Dundas Street, just east of the 427. And Freeway Ford on Markham Road, 1 mile north of the 401 in Scarborough. Don't miss this power sale.
I told my husband, Archie said, if we're moving overseas, don't do it the hard way. Call Acadian Overseas Packing. But no, Archie had a better idea. I told him, Acadian will take care of our belongings as though they were their own, and at a price to suit our budget. He meant well to be so. But we got Acadian to sort things out.
Don't do it the hard way. For a free estimate, call Acadian Overseas Packing.
Evans, Dixie, Freeway. The Power Price dealers break through with no money down and no payments until '94. Pay nothing and choose from over 900 new Ford and Mercury cars and trucks, all windshield power price to go. Plus hundreds of quality used cars. Leave your money in the bank. Just drive it away today and pay in '94. Only at your Power Price dealers. Dixie Ford on Dixie Road, just south of the 401. Evans, Lincoln, Mercury on Dundas Street, just east of the 427. And Freeway Ford on Markham Road, 1 mile north of the 401 in Scarborough. Don't miss this power sale.
The man with the binoculars to his eyes, our longtime spotter Art Darch, who will be one of the players honored at Iverwind Stadium by the Ticats on Sunday, October 24th, when the BC Lions are the visitors. The Ticats will be honoring players from their 1953 Grey Cup championship team. This will be the 40th anniversary. The first Grey Cup for the Hamilton Ticat franchise. They defeated the Winnipeg Blue Bombers that year. Inside toss, and it is going nowhere as Roy Hart was on Jackson almost immediately.
The young defensive tackle staying at home, and that's what you have to do when you're getting that push up the middle, and Hart came straight up with a hard bull rush as the flip was tossed back to Jackson. He was right at home, able to drop him for the loss on the play.
Number 7 is Wright. And people talked about using 6 defensive backs in a passing scheme. The Ticats have been doing that for some time because they have the luxury of being able to move Wright up to a linebacking position.
A true defensive back who can play that position.
He and Cofield get in on quarterback Reggie Slack, and Cofield will be credited with his 3rd sack of the game.
Cofield having a tremendous evening. Terry Wright, you just spoke about, coming on that linebacker blitz, that wheel linebacker position that he's playing. You'll see him come around the corner, and he will force Slack back up into Cofield. Cofield had an inside release on that play because Wright had to contain, picking up his 3rd sack of the evening.
3:18 remaining in the first half. Scott?
Well, Don, all season long we've been saying the Argos run and shoot's not complicated. I'll tell you who thinks it's easy tonight. That's the Ticat defense. Their players say their game plan is simple. Take away Slack's first read and then get him from the backside. It's been working all night long, and they say if Slack cannot make the first read, it's going to be an awfully long night for him.
Big punt by Lanley. Winfield on the return is stopped at the 37 by Brian McCurdy. A 50-yard kick, an 8-yard run back with 2:56 remaining in the first half.
Oh,
bungalow someplace? You know, your own backyard.
Not renting. Right?
A bank that understands how hard it is to save for a down payment.
Now we can save for a house while using a credit card.
Well, it's nice to know we're getting something out of it.
I see a barbecue in the backyard.
I see a swing set.
You're not,
So, how do you like your coffee? Crisp. You like your coffee crisp. I like my coffee crisp. Oh, I'm supposed to laugh now. You don't know from jokes. You never did. Well, excuse me for leaving. Ah, face it, dear. You're no Jane Rivers. Well, it's your opinion.
Coffee Crisp makes a nice, light snack.
So?
If you think a marsh isn't good for anything, think again. It's a natural water storage area and acts like a filter to help make our lakes and rivers pure. If you think filling in a marsh isn't the end of the world, think again. To ducks, herons, turtles, muskrats, dragonflies, fish, it could be the end of their world. Take another look. For more information, write the Canadian Wildlife Service, Ottawa.
In the first half of our Labor Day doubleheader, the Calgary Stampeders defeated Edmonton 33-13, the 10th straight win of the season for the Stampeders. And here at Iverwin Stadium, it's 11-0 Hamilton leading Toronto. The Ticats attempting to put an end to a 6-game losing streak. Perkins, the ball carrier, for a gain of maybe one. He was stacked up by Keith Poe.
Keith Poe done a good job, just like Hart, the last series for the Ticats. Poe getting his hands on the offensive lineman, getting separation, able to be ready, and broke down when Perkins got to the line of scrimmage.
On second down, McPherson takes the deep drop, throws deep down the sidelines. It's incomplete, intended for Kenneth Rare, and he was being covered all the way by Whitley, who was not about to let him get into position.
Well, Kenneth Rare in his first game back after missing 4 contests, but this is where Don McPherson gets into trouble. You have Rare working on the out, but you try to get him on the out and up. Whitley staying with him stride for stride, perfect inside coverage. That's what you expect from your defensive back. Use the sideline as an ally.
Osbaldiston preparing to punt on third down. It was Rare's reception for 34 yards after the blocked field goal try that set up the lone touchdown of the game, scored by quarterback Don McPherson on a 1-yard sneak. Low driving kick again by Osbaldiston. Clemens takes it at the 35. And Clemens is taken out of bounds as he gets up to the 50-yard line by Michael O'Shea.
Osbaldiston is going to have to learn to get a little more air under his balls. These line drive kicks are not allowing the team to get down and cover him. And Michael Clemens, the dangerous punt returner, he'll victimize you in those situations. And that one he had a decent return on.
Well, Michael Clemens has not started a game since July 31st against Saskatchewan. And this is a man who had a league record 3,300 combined yards in 1990.
And was an outstanding player in the league that year.
First and 10. The ball is at the 48-yard line. 2:08 remaining in the half. The Argos would dearly love to go to the dressing room with some points in the board. Slack showing pretty good mobility despite that big brace on his leg.
Showing excellent mobility, stepping up in the pockets. They're taking away his first read, able to pick up 16 yards on that run. But Warren Hudson is the key to this play's success. You'll see O'Shea coming through free up top. Warren Hudson, the fullback, probably the best blocking fullback in the league, as he's been called by so many coaches, allows Slack to get up in the pocket. He's run down from behind by Cofield, but only after a 16-yard gain.
Well, the coaches say that Warren Hudson is like another offensive lineman out there. Slack has Clark open. He should have a first down. He's stopped at the 34-yard line by Lonnie Finch.
And that's what happens when you don't take away Slack's first read. He got that ball away on the 3-step slide to the right. Clark goes down, drives also. It's a timing route. He turns around, and the ball is right there. He is given too much of a cushion by the defensive back Finch. Cofield being stood up at the line of scrimmage, not getting any penetration.
1st and 10. The Argos at the Hamilton 34, 122 remaining in the half. The toss to Jackson. Jackson cuts back inside. He'll have another Toronto 1st down to the 22. Tripped up by Tim Jackson.
Coming with a speed option, something you don't see too often in the CFL. Reggie Slack pulling out, coming down the line of scrimmage as he gets to the corner, pitches it back to Jackson. The basic option play, if not for Tim Jackson with a great open field tackle, Jackson, the other Jackson, might have gone a long way. Is this like a Jackson family show or something?
Jacksons have been very prominent in the last while, not only on the football field, but in the news.
They've given a lot of press.
Hazard is taken out of bounds by Tim Jackson after a gain of a couple of yards.
Let's call this the Action Jackson hour or something. But Jackson that time getting some work once again. Hazard, the big game last week. They're using him in the underneath spots tonight, letting him work on the quick outs that time, going down about 4 or 5, driving Jackson off, breaking it out to the outside. Slack once again in rhythm, throwing it on time.
Well, Reggie Slack is certainly familiar with the run and shoot. He played for Mouse Davis with the New Jersey Knights of the World League. On 2nd down, there's the option toss to Pat Jackson. This time he loses the ball, and Moulton has it. Well, the crowd love it. A 47-yard fumble return by John Moulton.
Excellent pursuit by the Ticat defense. Once again, the speed option coming out right. As you'll see him get to the corner, Jackson has the ball out in the open. And Dawson comes up and gets that left arm up in there. And Moulton is on the spot to pick it up. A convoy in front of him. An excellent return for the Ticats down to the 40-yard line. Now, Don McPherson cannot be rattled in coming in this situation, Don, after his last outing. He has to take what the defense gives him and not try to force something down the Argonauts.
John Moulton defensively had a big game against Winnipeg in a losing effort last week. He made 9 tackles, a big fumble recovery to take the Argos out of scoring position and put the Ticats in a spot where they might add to the lead. Kenneth Rare made the catch and then was driven back. The spot will be important. I think it will be about a yard short. Dave Van Bellingham came up to drive him back.
Kenneth Rare has shown his importance in coming back into this lineup already tonight in the first quarter with 27 seconds to go, making a big catch, getting it down to the 32.
26 seconds remaining in the half. The fake toss by McPherson. McPherson had Brian Warren waiting for him, has to go the other way. He'll get the 1st down.
That's what he does so well, Don. He can move in the pocket. He came left on a naked boot. Brian Warren stayed at home like he should. He was able to cut back against the floor of the defense, get the ball down to the 26 for the 1st down, and call a timeout.
John Gregory said one of his instructions to Don McPherson for this game was to do what he does best, and that's, if he's in trouble, take off and run.
I think young quarterbacks come in sometime and they try to do what the media and other people are saying that they should be doing instead of what got them to the position that they're in. Don McPherson was known as a scrambler when he came to the CFL. People were saying he should become more of a patient passer. The movement of Don McPherson made him successful. He tried to become a stable quarterback, lost some of his confidence, his throwing ability. Now he's moving back around again with that mobility.
16 seconds remaining on the clock as number 16, Don McPherson, directs the attack from the 26. He's forced out of the pocket by Bruce Elliott, still completes the pass to Avrare with 8 seconds remaining.
Avrare having a tremendous first half. The defensive backs are having a hard time. He does such an excellent job of reading the coverage. He's the inside slot, working to the outside of the coverage, No one up on him that time. Lewis is coming back late on him, working back to the quarterback. That's what you want your receivers to do. Close that space between the two so the ball has no chance of being intercepted.
8 seconds remaining and the clock is running. This is going to be the final play of the half. Winfield on the sidelines, but time has run out. The Ticats had used up their timeout, and they could not stop the clock, and they failed to get it in the end zone. Scott?
Don, the Argos and Ticats on Labor Day, and so far the Cats have lived up to the high standard they've set for these games. They lead by 11. Now we invite you to stand by for Live at the Half from Hamilton. At the half in a business
in North America dates back to 1873.
The key to the first half success of the Ticats, though, was Don McPherson's mobility. Here on a bootleg, moving out to the left, setting up the first major of the game for the Ticats. A dive right over the middle behind Sanderson as center, getting into the end zone. Also for that, the Ticats were 3-0 coming into this game when they scored first, and they were fortunately enough able to score first in the first half of this contest, Don.
Don McPherson certainly wasn't around in 1873, but the Argos must almost feel like they haven't won a football game since then. As a matter of fact, their losing streak on the road goes back to 1991 when they defeated the Ticats in October here at Iverwin Stadium. Pinball Clemens on the kickoff return, and he'll provide the Argos with great field position to start the second half. Mark Scott took him down and out of bounds, but not before the pinball returned at 34 yards. 2 turnovers by the Argos, but a critical error with the time clock by Hamilton in the final 8 seconds of the first half, when they could have lined up for a field goal attempt.
You can almost attribute that to a turnover also, as a turnover, Don, because you had an opportunity for 3 points that would have given you a 14-point lead at halftime. Now you're within 2 touchdowns still.
Reggie Slack continues at quarterback, 1st and 10 from the 54-yard line. Slack with good protection. He's got Clark open. Clark gets away from Finch and then is brought down by Bobby Dawson. Reggie Slack has spread the ball around. The running back, Jackson, has been on the receiving end of 3 throws, but Wally Zatilny has the most yardage.
Well, that's one thing about the run and shoot. You survey the field and you're looking across the field. Here with Clark making the reception and the defensive back making a critical Finch, making a critical error on this play, almost cost his team 6.
1st and 10 from the 32. Slack is in trouble. Caulfield hauls him down. Sack number 4.
We saw this, I think, deja vu a couple of nights ago, Don.
Deja vu all over again.
O.J. Brigance from B.C. Tim Caulfield working very hard. This defensive front of the Tiger Cats is relentless. They're coming in. Andrews misses him along with Bailey, but Caulfield with the great pursuit to speed. That's why they brought him in from Calgary when he was released, and he's done a tremendous job this evening. His second 4-sack game of the season.
11 for the year. O.J. Brigance of the B.C. Lions leads with 6 the other night. He now has 17.
Well, 6 sacks so far by the Ticats tonight. Coming into the game, the Argonauts offensive line had given up 50 on the season.
2nd and 17. Terry Wright forces Slack to pull up. He throws for Hazard, and he takes it out of bounds at the 26. Roger Hennig forced him out of bounds.
Hazard has become a favorite target of Slack since he's been the starting quarterback. 10 receptions last week, his 3rd tonight. Working on Henning one-on-one to safety, having a tough time covering man for man. Hazard victimizing him, taking him on the deep out route, short of the first down. Chomick coming in for the field goal attempt.
It would be 3rd and 4 for the Argos. So Coach Dennis Meyer sends Lance Chomick out to attempt a field goal of 32 yards. His first field goal try, remember, was blocked. Lubo Zizakovic was able to block it. This time the kick is up, and it is good. So the Argos finally get on the board with 12:42 remaining in the third quarter. Lance Chomik, the club's all-time leading scorer, kicks for 3.
Now, where the Ticats didn't get that field goal at the closing of the first half becomes ever more critical now. The lead is reduced down to 8 points instead of a touchdown and a field goal cushion. Now they have to come back and make something happen themselves offensively. Pinball Clemens, great punt return, set up the opportunity to move downfield and get that score.
In the 6 consecutive games that the Ticats have lost, they have only scored 62 points while giving up 235. They've been outscored by a ratio of 4-1.
And you just cannot stay competitive when you're doing that. Their defense arrived tonight, and defenses sometimes they say get tired of hearing you got to keep us in the game till they score. They're doing everything they can tonight to keep this team in the lead.
Lamley preparing to kick off after Chomik's successful field goal. Burbage waits for it at the 24. Good downfield tackle by Manny Hazard.
Doing it on both ends. Not only is he making receptions, but he's also making tackles after coming down after a long run on a kickoff.
9-yard run back after a 51-yard kickoff. We mentioned that Don McPherson hasn't thrown a touchdown pass since the 16th of July. His favorite target tonight has been Ken Abrera.
After missing 4 games, he came back right in stride tonight.
Good fake inside. That throws the defense. But a bad throw by McPherson. He missed Winfield by 4 or 5 yards.
He is really pressing right now. He is trying to make things happen that he may not be capable of making happen. He's trying to throw that ball on the full flight. Once again, though, Brian Warren victimized at the defensive end spot, allowing McPherson to get around the corner. He is not having the season on the defensive side, Warren, that they expected at the start of the season.
This time, McPherson sets up. No, he's going to walk up to the line of scrimmage. I thought he was going to stay back in the shotgun. 2nd and 10. Over the head of Abrera, so it's 2 and out for the Ticats.
I think Don's complaining that he got a wet ball on that situation because it looked as if it slipped out of his hands just as he came out on the release, and it wobbled quite a bit, just floating over Abrera's head. But right now, they have to go back into that short intermediate game. Stop trying to pick up 10 to 15 yards per pass. Settle for the 6 and 7 yard hitches.
Dennis Meyer providing some encouragement on the sideline to his offensive unit as they prepare to go out following this Paul Osbaldiston punt. No chance for Pinball Clemens to return it. It goes out of bounds at the 47. And again, the Argos will have good field position with 11:45 remaining in the third quarter.
Now for a lucky fan who win a...
Ever since he was a kid, Chris McGroarty has walked to town to enjoy the great taste of McDonald's. But this month, he's going more often than usual. Because September's taste of the month is the barbecue bacon burger. A quarter-pounder with cheese topped with delicious barbecue sauce and sizzling bacon. And because, as of today, Chris isn't a kid anymore. The barbecue bacon burger, this month only.
Joshua Williams, baseball player, swimmer, and safety ambassador for the War Amps Champ program. Joshua knows what it means to play safe. During a boat ride, he got too close to the edge and fell overboard. The motor severed his leg. Now, he must wear an artificial one. Joshua has a warning for all children.
Don't let it happen to you. Play safe. Yes.
A message from the War Amps.
There's a whole new season of comedy, drama, and performance coming at you this fall. Watch CBC, Public Broadcasting in Canada, and go public.
P.J. Martin is a rookie with the Hamilton Ticats. His father, Peter, was a linebacker with the Toronto Argonauts from 1965 through 1972 and does color commentary on Argo radio broadcasts. He was saying, on game days, P.J. always comes home for a meal.
Get used to that home cooking.
The Martin family lives in Mississauga, so it's not too far to head either way, Toronto or Hamilton. Hazard looking for the ball. It's intercepted. No, it's just knocked down. It looked as though Derek Kelson was going to come up with it, but he knocked it down. For a moment, he got his hands on it, but couldn't hold on.
Well, an excellent job of blocking by the offensive line. You see Manny Hazard working on just the post route, just going straight down the field. Slack had plenty of time to get the ball to him, just hung it up a little bit, and Kelson was able to come over just at the end of that. But the offensive line right in front of Slack is working very hard to give him some time. You see Verschoval working against Hart right there, warding him off. Slack able to step up in the pocket and get that pass off.
2nd and 10 for the Argos from the 47. 11-10 remaining in the third quarter. O'Shea is there, and so is Cofield. Cofield gets the sack. Number 5 for Tim Cofield.
It looks like Cofield might have been just a little bit inspired watching a Saturday night contest down the road in Ottawa, because O.J. Brigance came in with an outstanding performance, one you don't think that might be equal during the season, but right now Cofield is chasing him. As you'll see, the offensive line right here is working very hard, but it collapses around. O'Shea puts a lot of pressure on, drives him back into Cofield, and Cofield records his 5th sack of the evening.
He's not going to get the sack. It'll be wiped out. There was a holding penalty against Roger Henning, so that negates Cofield's apparent 5th sack of this football game. The way Tim Cofield is playing, those responsible for selecting the Defensive Player of the Week, if they're going on sack totals, might have a tough time choosing between O.J. Brigance and Tim Cofield. Here's Pat Jackson. He can make people miss, and he takes it down to the 37.
Coming with just a quick inside trap that time, a change-up basically for what the Argos have been doing tonight offensively. As you'll see, just a quick hitter. A half roll by Slack, passing it off to Jackson. A great block by Bruce Green up front, allowing Jackson to get through the hole and pick up the yardage for the first down.
A gain of 15 yards. It's 1st and 10 from the 38. Jackson has carried the ball 4 times for 28 yards so far. Slack throws quickly to Kip Lewis. Close to another first down. He's bounced out of bounds by Bobby Dawson.
Lonnie Finch not running tight coverage on that play. Right now, Slack has gotten back in his rhythm, moving the ball club downfield. You'll see Lewis working the out route. Finch does the Cardinal sin, doesn't break down, allows the receiver to get back to the outside, and he's able to pick up another first down on the play, being forced out by Dawson.
Slack was not a member of the Argos when these teams met for the first time on the 22nd of July, and Hamilton won 25-9. Finch makes the interception in the end zone. The ball is picked up by Bobby Dawson, but I think they're going to rule that it was dead in the end zone. He loose, and they're ruling that he was downed in the end zone.
Clark once again working one-on-one on Finch. Slack with plenty of time in the pocket. He gets it behind him. Once again, Dawson with the initial bump. Finch coming over to help and makes a great interception in the end zone. Questionable whether he had the possession of the ball or not. Looks like it might have been bobbling. It came loose, but the official on the spot called that he had possession of the football. A big break once again for the Ticats.
The Ticats' first interception of the night. They have blocked a punt and have had a fumble recovery. So turnovers have hurt the Argos when they've been in scoring position. Perkins takes it out to the 35, very close to a first down.
Well, the big back once again being able to turn the corner. Donnie Moan being moved from the outside linebacker to the inside linebacker was just not able to get across on the flow on that play, and he's bothered a little bit by that leg injury that he had. You might see Donnie coming in right here at the end, missing him by the ankles, just doesn't have the foot speed to get over there from that middle linebacker spot.
Perkins didn't get out across the 35, so it is a first down. 8:45 remaining in the third quarter. Inside handoff to Perkins. And Perkins is caught and brought down by Milburn. How big an adjustment is it for Don Moen to come from the outside to the middle?
Well, you got an individual whose entire career he's been looking from one angle. He knows how to play the leverage, but now you have linemen coming from the other side, and you have to ward off somebody who hasn't been there for many years, and it is an adjustment. You generally have to scrape deeper into the defensive secondary to come around, and it's affecting him, and his leg is not 100% either.
His Ironman streak came to an end at 198 games, but he's back a lot sooner than most expected. McPherson had better hurry. He's going to be charged with, no, he got it away. Or did he? No. The time clock caught him. Tiger 20 seconds to get the ball into play, and McPherson was checking off with about 4 seconds left and couldn't get back under center Dale Sanderson in time.
Well, McPherson has to trust his instincts on a play like that. He has to realize that if he can't get the play called, the audible at the offensive line, then he'll have to scramble. He's a good enough athlete to pick up 6 yards, but don't cost your team an extra 5 and taking a time count violation.
2nd and 11 now for the Ticats. They are back at their 33-yard line. McPherson was looking for Burbage, and he ran into the safety, Dave Van Bellingham, and Burbage is protesting. He's really upset that there was no penalty flag.
The reason why there wasn't a flag thrown, it was an uncatchable ball. The ball had just taken off. If you look at McPherson's delivery, he is not coming off over the top with the football as he's releasing it. It's coming 3/4 arm, and that ball is sailing on him. And that time he hung Burbage out to dry, and Van Bellingham took advantage of it by leveling the hit on him.
Burbage scored the Ticats' lone touchdown last week against Winnipeg, his first in the CFL. That, by the way, was also the first touchdown pass by Bob Torrance. Pressure up the middle on Osbaldiston, but he got the kick away. Clemens let it bounce, and it will roll out of bounds at the 42. 7:32 is the time remaining in the third quarter.
43-yard line.
There's lots of different music on the radio, and at 680 News, we don't play any of it. Our sole purpose is to give you the latest news, weather, sports, traffic, and business when you want it. So no matter what you're listening to, when you want a quick update, tune to 680 AM. Get what you want, then tune back out. At 680 News, we don't expect you to listen all day. When you're ready for us, we're ready for you. The brand new 680 News. 20 minutes of news every 20 minutes.
The competition says they're getting better. But can you really get any better than Toyota?
After having driven many North American cars, I feel very satisfied that I've switched to Toyota.
I said, you know what, we can look at another Legend and an Integra and Acura. And then there was just something missing in all those cars.
And we just love the Camry straight off.
It would take a lot of dynamite to blow me out of my Toyota.
So the next time our competitors say they're as good as Toyota, tell them you know better.
Get up to $1,500 factory-to-dealer incentives on the Toyota Camry LE Touring. Hurry, the sharpest deals in town end September 30th.
Hugh Cunningham knows what he likes in art, but his artistic medium may surprise you. Living art, a growing concern. On the road again, Tuesday at 7.
Seeking refuge in tradition.
Baal Tshuva means that you're returning to Judaism.
But is it an easy choice?
Can't do what you want anymore. You have to do what the church asks you to do.
God's Dominion, Sunday on CBC.
Toronto quarterback Mike Kerrigan's in the spotter's box at Ivor Wynne tonight. He broke his collarbone in Vancouver 3.5 weeks ago. He threw in practice this week. Likely won't dress for the September 19th game against Winnipeg at Skydome when the Argos play next. More likely the following week in Ottawa will mark his return. But you know, Don, there's always the possibility the Argos could give Tracy Ham another shot at quarterback. Right now, he is the subject of trade talk. He could end up here. Says he'd welcome a trade anywhere where he'd get a chance to play. Currently, he's likely the most highly paid assistant coach in the CFL.
Well, Tracy Ham coming to Hamilton has been a rumor of the last few days. There were suggestions that the Argos, in exchange for Ham, wanted 4 players, and the name of Ken of Rare and John Moten have been mentioned.
Well, I think the asking price is a little bit too high by the Argonauts if they're expecting more than 1 or two players that come in the trade, and I saw in the paper where they were talking 4 players for one. The Argonauts have gone through that once. They weren't too successful, and I think they should try to stay away from the multiplayer trade and just go on the one-on-one situation and know what they're getting straight across the board.
They had 7 quarterbacks at training camp. Reggie Slack was not one of them. Cofield's got number 5 now.
Well, as you said earlier, Don, the voting committee is here for the Players of the Week. But Cofield has played one outstanding game, had gone through somewhat of a slump, got a lot of sacks early in the year. And tonight, he's lining up at the rush in that 2-point stance, working very hard on Rhoda-Huskers with just that bull rush, pushing him right back. Slack set up behind the tackle, waiting for him, and all Cofield could do was slam him to the turf.
Cofield has tremendous strength. As a matter of fact, a few years back, he won the strongman competition in the National Football League. And he's been shedding would-be blockers with ease. Jackson takes the pass, gets a first down to midfield. Again, the Ticats thought they had a quarterback sack with Reggie Slack in their sights, but he dumped it off for 19 yards.
Well, that's what you have to do to slow that rush down. Come with that little flip pass inside and let the rush come through. Basically a middle screen. Bobby Dawson with the great open field tackle one-on-one because he was the only line between Jackson and the end zone.
First and 10, Toronto. The ball is at midfield. 5:59 remaining in the third quarter. Hamilton leads 11-3. Clark. Finch went up with him and got a hand on the football.
Well, Clark has had an excellent second half working against Finch. Finch that time not allowing Clark any time to make a move on the ball. He's driving downfield, does the square out, but Finch with the great break gets the hands in there just as the ball arrives to break up that pass play. Finch, excellent one-on-one coverage. Clark going up high, but Finch going up just as high as he is.
Well, they want to get the ball to Robert Clark. 729 yards and 42 pass receptions coming into this game, and he has had 3 games of 100 yards or more. Hazard on the other side takes it out of bounds, but he only gets about 5, forced out by Tim Jackson.
Well, Jackson with the tight coverage on Hazard, but Slack also has to realize when you have 2nd and 10, 5-yard passes generally don't get you a first down. You'll see Hazard driving hard to the outside, but Jackson's right in his hip pocket, and as he makes the reception, forces him right out of bounds. The Argos once again have to punt the football. This is somewhat becoming a game of field position. Osbaldiston is only averaging 36 yards a punt tonight, and he's not getting much hang time, so the Argos have been winning that one particular battle tonight.
Wayne Lamley, after a shaky start, has been getting better height on his punts. John Moten came up the middle but couldn't get the ball, and Winfield is down back at the 8-yard line. A 45-yard punt and a 3-yard return.
Evans, Dixie, Freeway. The Power Price dealers break through with no money down and no payments until '94. Pay nothing and choose from over 900 new Ford and Mercury cars and trucks, all windshield power price to go. Plus hundreds of quality used cars. Leave your money in the bank. Just drive it away today and pay in '94. Only at your Power Price dealers. Dixie Ford on Dixie Road just south of the 401. Evans, Lincoln Mercury on Dundas Street just east of the 427. And Freeway Ford on Markham Road 1 mile north of the 401 in Scarborough. Don't miss this power sale.
I told my husband, Archie said, if we're moving overseas, don't do it the hard way. Call Acadian Overseas Packing. But no, Archie had a better idea. I told him, Acadian will take care of our belongings as though they were their own, and at a price to suit our budget. He meant well the wee soul. But we got Acadian to sort things out.
Don't do it the hard way. For a free estimate, call Acadian Overseas Packing.
Evans, Dixie, Freeway. The Power Price dealers break through with no money down and no payments until '94. Pay nothing and choose from over 900 new Ford and Mercury cars and trucks, all windshield power price to go. Plus hundreds of quality used cars. Leave your money in the bank. Just drive it away today and pay in '94. Only at your Power Price dealers. Dixie Ford on Dixie Road, just south of the 401. Evans, Lincoln, Mercury on Dundas Street, just east of the 427. And Freeway Ford on Markham Road, 1 mile north of the 401 in Scarborough. Don't miss this power sale.
Earl Winfield on that last punt return, shaken up on the play. John Moulton came very close to blocking the kick.
You got Moulton right here. He's going to come right through this gap and right here lay out, misses this by the closest of margins, just by the tip of his fingers right there. You'll see John Moulton working hard, just barely misses that one. Big break for the Argos.
Bushy takes the ball and gets out to about the 6-yard line. On the bench, Winfield receiving treatment. They're bringing the ice bag for his left wrist.
Well, he was banged quite hard on that last punt return and driven into the turf. It looked like he might have been trying to brace his fall and got that wrist jammed into the turf. They cannot afford to lose Earl Winfield, but he's in some discomfort right now.
2nd and 7. Richard Nurse in the ball game in place of Winfield. Perkins is going to be dropped for a loss back at the 3, so the Argos are going to get the ball back in excellent field position.
Donnie Moe stepping up from his middle linebacker position to make that tackle, but a very questionable series of play calls by the Ticat offense. You got the ball back down in your own territory, and the Argos have been coming on strong. They've been gaining in field position from the punting situation. Osbaldiston has been losing that end of the battle, and right now you're going to be kicking the ball out of your own end zone. Unless Osbaldiston gets a good one off with his average, they should get the ball somewhere around the 40, if not inside, on this return.
They lost Earl Winfield earlier. Now Dave Richardson goes down. 4:11 is the time remaining in the 3rd quarter. In case you missed it earlier today, the first half of our Labor Day doubleheader saw the Calgary Stampeders defeat the Edmonton Eskimos 33-13. The Stampeders with a perfect 10-0 record. The two teams meet again Friday night at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Just one touchdown in the game so far, set up by a blocked field goal attempt. Lubo Zizakovic blocking it, then a pass of 34 yards to Abraire, with McPherson capping the drive, putting it in the end zone. The only touchdown of the ball game.
It would be safe to say that out west, the only thing Calgary has to fight against is complacency right now.
Well, as we heard Dave Sapungis at halftime, they're thinking about an unbeaten season, but they're taking it one game at a time. Pinball Clemens looking for some blocking help. He gets it. His 2nd punt return touchdown of the year. He had a 79-yard run back against the Edmonton Eskimos on August 18th, and this is a 43-yard punt return touchdown.
And that's just what happens when you're not getting the hang time on your punts, is that it does not allow your coverage team to get downfield and spread out in their lanes properly to blanket the return man. And Pinball is the kind of guy that you don't want that to happen with.
Clemens, when he got to the end zone, was tripped up, and he appears to be hurt. During his career in the CFL, he has had continuing problems with a turf toe. It doesn't sound like a serious injury, but it can be very painful.
Very painful and serious injury. But if you look at Clemens here, he lets his wall develop to the left. He follows his blockers downfield. Reggie Pleasant is driving along with Kevin Smelling, getting the push to the outside, and he's able to cut back around the 10-yard line and break that into the end zone for the Argos' first touchdown of the evening. That once again, that not going for that field goal at the end of the first half looms ever so critical. This could be a one-point game. Matter of fact, they're going for 2. This could be a tied game in just a second.
11-9, the Ticats lead it. The Argos going for a 2-point convert, trying to get on even terms. Knocked down by John Moulton. It was intended for Hazard, and John Moulton at the goal line knocked it down. So the score holds 11-9 Hamilton with 3:21 remaining in the third quarter. Mike Clemens with his second punt return touchdown of the year.
Big play that time by John Moat, because Manny Hazard had lined up in the slot and drifted on a quick slant into the end zone. Moat was able to step over from his middle linebacker position and get a hand on it. You'll see that Hazard is wide open right there in that soft spot in the zone. If not for a great effort by John Moulton, this game was going to be tied. Michael Clemens once again heading off to the left, letting his blocking form. You can see the wall of players right in front of him. Mike, once he gets into an open field, knows what to do. Ever so elusive, cutting back towards the middle, into the end zone. Richard Nurse right at the end, grabbing, twisting his ankle, but too late.
It's nice to have the luxury of having a guy on special teams like a Pinball Clemens.
Yeah, he is probably the best specialty team player in the league.
Well, there's not much wrong with the guy who wears number 2 in Edmonton. You forgot about him for a minute, didn't you? Nick Mazzoli on the kickoff return out to the 32-yard line.
Well, we can put them head-to-head and let them argue about it. But Gizmo, I'm sorry, you're not bad.
A 61-yard kickoff, an 18-yard return.
Excellent coverage downfield by McCurdy on the coverage that time, just fighting to get off the defenders, and that's what you got to do. Specialty teams is desire, and you stay after it. He's hitting his own men on this play.
Whistle goes before the Ticats can snap the ball. 3:03 is the time remaining.
And the Argonauts called a timeout. Could be very costly and critical, not having enough men on the field. Elliott coming out on the field, but the Argonauts calling a timeout with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. They have no more left for the game. And that's one of the new rule changes this year in the CFL. You don't have to wait till the final 3 minutes to utilize your timeout. You can call it at any point in the game, and at this point they felt it was that critical that they needed that 12th man on the field.
That's the second major error that the Argos have committed as far as playing personnel are concerned on the field. They had 14 on for a third down punt by Hamilton, only 11 for this play. Winfield on the sidelines makes the catch out of bounds. And there's a penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage. Winfield is protesting.
We're going to get a holding penalty against the Ticats. But with Winfield, what he is protesting against, that contact was made while he was still in the field of play and was driven out of bounds by Lewis on the play, not by his own momentum. You can see that Lewis gets his head in his chest and drives him out of bounds.
Your foul, unnecessary roughness. Hamilton, number 56, second down.
The penalty is called against center Dale Sanderson, so the play would not have stood anyway, but I really don't know whether he would have come down in the field of play even without the contact.
Well, you know, you're going to get a receiver fighting for his rights every opportunity he gets. And Winfield hasn't caught that many balls. He needs all the receptions he can come up with, he feels.
2nd and 25. McPherson throws deep looking for Winfield. He can't catch up with it. Being covered by Whitley. 2:41 remaining in the third quarter, and the Argos are going to get the ball back again, barring a huge kick by Osbaldiston in good field position.
You got Winfield working one-on-one. He gets inside of Lewis, and he's running a streak pattern on this play, getting some help from the safety over the top. But this is where McPherson has got himself in trouble. He tries to get too much on one play. He has to learn how to nickel and dime up and down the field. Be patient. Pick up first downs, not touchdowns.
The Ticats have been the lowest scoring team in the league thus far this year, and tonight they aren't even up to their average of 15 points a game. Jackson on the kickoff return. Clemens took it 43 yards for a touchdown. Jackson brings it back to the 27-yard line with an 18-yard run back after after the 34-yard kick by Osbaldiston.
And once again, having trouble with the specialty team coverage. Osbaldiston has to get the ball into the air to allow his coverage to get down. You'll see the Ticats scrambling, trying to get back across field. Argos again with the wall return, this time wall return right. Jackson able to get in behind his blocking, get the ball down to the 28-yard line. Great field position once again for Slack. A very short field to operate with.
Wally Zatilny goes wide left. Clark to the right. Movement at the line of scrimmage prior to the ball being snapped. I think it's going to be procedure against the Argos.
Well, the interior part of the offensive line moved, and Slack took a step back, and the ball just didn't come up in time.
Procedure. Try number 61. Still first down.
Chris Green.
Hard to miss when he moves. Green, the right guard, 6'6", about 310 pounds. Moves just prematurely along with Smith, the left guard, so you could have got a combination there.
Kind of tough to miss when you're that size. Hazard came back to the quarterback but couldn't hang on to the football. He saw that Slack was in trouble, and Slack is very slow in getting up. He's taken some punishment tonight.
Well, you had Wright, the wheel side linebacker, coming full steam, working on the offensive tackle. You get Hazard on this play, though, running the deep out, did a tremendous job of coming back for the football, but Slack was leveled by Wright as he tried to get that one away, and he just couldn't get enough on it.
James, you've used the terms will and Mac, referring to linebackers a couple of times for our viewers' benefit. Perhaps you could explain?
Well, the will linebacker is basically the terminology for the weak side backer. Wright, former defensive back, had the size to be able to move up into that position. You take your Sam linebacker, strong side, and that's what he's playing, basically the wide side of the field. Your Mac, your middle linebacker, where Donnie Moen, who was once the Sam, has been moved into the Mac position tonight, playing the middle, roaming the middle of the field.
2nd and 15. Handoff inside to Jackson. He breaks it to the outside. And that's what Coach Dennis Meyer said he liked about Pat Jackson, was his speed, his quickness, his ability to move laterally, and that was a perfect example.
An excellent example of open field mobility. Jackson with the lead draw that time, Slack dropping back, and this is one of the favorite running plays out of the running shooters, the lead draw. He has the mobility and the vision to break this back. He goes out twice towards the left, making people miss, changing hands with the ball as you expect for your running backs to do, to get it away from the charging defenders.
52 seconds remaining in the third quarter. It's 1st and 10 from the 14. 4 receivers left. Slack running the option to his right, and he opted to keep that time. Terry Wright came up to make the tackle.
To have a quarterback as brittle as Reggie Slack is, you question why do you want him to run the option play. One wrong hit and he can be down, and you've had nothing but problems at the quarterback position in this run and shoot offense, and he's been the most successful in operating it. Why take the chance on a running play with him?
Expect Tracy Ham to be running the option.
He's the one who can really run.
This could be the final play of the third quarter. 2nd and 5, Toronto. Penalty flag. I think this is going to be a time count violation. The Argos took too long in getting the play underway. 3 seconds showing on the clock as the time remaining in quarter 3.
Toronto number 10, still 2nd down.
But with the way that Reggie Slack has been operating here with the run and shoot, isn't just a little more field of vision to see downfield. May not be a critical error. We will see after this play once it gets to the line of scrimmage.
Handoff to Jackson. He broke one tackle. He should have the first down, but he won't get into the goal area. And that is also the final play of the third quarter. When we return, the Argos will be 1st and goal from inside the 5-yard line.
Mono, mono, get the mono, mono, get the mono, mono.
Funny thing about monofoam, just a little does a lot. You see, monofoam expands into larger holes and fills spaces other materials can't begin to fill. Just think of all the places you can spray in monofoam to seal air leaks and insulate against drafts. Specially formulated monofoam. It'll grow on you.
Mono, mono, get the mono, mono, get the mono, mono, get the mono.
Watch carefully. Someone is about to get stung.
Well, hello, honey nut.
New roasted honey nut Skippy peanut butter. Have you been stung yet?
New Hellman's Dijonnaise. A creamy mustard blend unlike any other. So spread on the flavor. It makes everything twice as tasty.
Oh, nothing beats my Hellman's Dijonnaise.
The kids that aren't in the streets, you shouldn't go in. Try to find another answer. I didn't have the choice. I didn't think of going to my grandparents or my uncle or my aunt or just my good friend. I fought straight in the middle of downtown. Pissed around Stone High and I got run over by a car. What a great beginning. Half an hour in the street and you almost get killed. It's dangerous.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Bell Canada.
In the second half, it's been all Toronto. It was all Hamilton on the scoreboard in the first half, but they have not been able to add to their 11 points. And with Pat Jackson doing a fine job as a receiver, a runner, and a punt returner, the Argos are first and goal. Slack on the option, he'll score.
Slack has been running that speed option all night long. It has been an important play in this offense because they have not been able to defense it. They bring the end upfield trying to get him in the passing lane. Slack slides down the line of scrimmage, that time following Green. Turned it up, untouched into the end zone before he was 2-3 yards deep. As you can see, he comes down the line. Green caves down inside, gets out on Moulton, the Mac linebacker, not allowing him to straight. Touchdown Argos.
And again, the Argos are going for two. They failed the last time they went for a two-point convert. They're going to fail again as Terry Wright in the end zone is able to knock it down. Reggie Slack was hit hard close to the sidelines as he jumped in the air to throw. Tim Cofield was after him, and there isn't a great deal of room on the sidelines. There isn't much distance from the field of play to the wall next to the stands.
And that's a concrete wall, and Tim Cofield was in hot pursuit of Slack. And with this wet surface, as soon as he leveled it, he slid into that concrete wall. Not a very comfortable evening for Slack, but I think he will accept it after getting that touchdown to put his team ahead of. Once again, you'll see Slack taking a step away from center, reading down the line. He has the seam between Gary Winkler and Green. Takes it into the end zone for the 6. Argos up 15-11.
Well, if the Toronto Argonauts are about to move Tracy Ham, the performance of Reggie Slack may help make that decision.
And in back-to-back games also, sometimes you always wonder, will they be able to repeat those performances? Thus far in the second half, he's been able to do that.
A reverse with Mazzoli on the kickoff return. Fine job by Hughes. A 15-yard return as the Ticats attempted to reverse with Mazzoli, but Hughes on the far side of the play read it and forced the play back inside and then made the tackle.
Was not fooled on the play at all, and that's the key, staying at home. That's what you teach your defenders when you're running down on the kick teams. Stay within your lanes. You cannot make the play from the other side of the field. He stayed in his lane. The ball came back to him. He was able to make the open field tackle.
15-11, Toronto leads Hamilton. Bushy picked up about 2 yards, and the fans who were so supportive of the Ticats in the first half are now booing the performance of the offensive unit. Most of that 192-yard total was picked up in the opening half by the Ticats. Offensively, they've been shut down in the second half thus far. Burbage on the sidelines lost the football after making the catch.
A badly needed first down reception by the Ticats. We saw something similar to this a couple of nights ago in Ottawa. You'll have teams playing, and it seems like it's old football cliche, not to win, but playing not to lose. And that's a situation that the Ticats sort of got themselves into. But that time, an excellent reception by Burbage on the play.
And I think that was a perfect example of how the ground cannot make you fumble. He was thrown to the ground by Reggie Pleasant, and that's when the ball bounced out.
Saw a shot there, Peter Gutopoulos, a converted linebacker. He had been a linebacker the first 4 or 5 years of his career here in Hamilton. He's made a smooth transition to the offensive line and done an excellent job this year playing left offensive tackle for the Ticats.
Dave Richardson for the second time is shaken up. 13:04 remaining in the game. Scott?
Well, Don, you've noticed tonight on the 2 touchdowns the Argonauts have scored, they've gone for the 2-point convert. You'll recall when they lost by a single point to Ottawa last week, Dennis Meyer was upset because he tried after the team got a touchdown from Manny Hazard to get his players to go for the 2-point convert, but he couldn't get their attention. Tonight, after each touchdown, every player on the bench has been yelling 2, 2, 2. They're not going to make the same mistake again.
Well, eventually he's going to have to go for a 1 and possibly get those points on the scoreboard. You want to take an opportunity to get all the points that you can because they're so important in the CFL game. As you saw yesterday at Taylor Field in Saskatchewan, when the Riders were not able to convert on that situation, and the Bombers came down and won the game in the last seconds with a field goal.
Bill Henry comes in to replace Dave Richardson. Henry's played for almost as many teams in his CFL career as you did, James. Perkins picks up about 2 yards.
No, I don't think his suitcase is that big. But his last move wasn't a long one. He just came right down to QEW from Toronto to Hamilton. And, you know, he feels very comfortable. I talked with Bill prior to the game about being back here in Hamilton. He didn't particularly care for the situation in Toronto. He feels much more comfortable being here, and now he's getting an opportunity to play tonight.
2nd and 9, Hamilton. 12:18 remaining in the game. 15-11, Toronto leading. McPherson for Whitfield, first down at the 51.
Earl Whitfield, when you get the ball to him, so many things can happen for you offensively. They had gone away from him there somewhat, but in a critical second down situation, you get him working one-on-one on Lewis. He releases him inside on the curl. He finds that soft spot in the middle of the Argo zone before Don Moan can come over to put him down on the play. First down at the 51.
Gain of 17. 1st and 10. McPherson is being pressured, dumps it off to Bushy. He's got nowhere to go.
McPherson's pass complete to Bushy.
With the Argos swarming him, his big concern was simply hanging on to the football.
Not wanting to get a sack on that play, but once again, McPherson being just a little bit impatient. If he had came up and looked to hit the hot route right there as he came off, you had Ivrea, who was open immediately, but decided he wanted to go deep. Good thing that Bushy had stayed on as a safety valve, and he only lost 2 instead of 12 on the play.
Mazzoli comes into the game. Yock goes out. McPherson in the shotgun. He's got the big first down at the 23.
Burbage getting the big play that the Ticats need once again, getting the crowd back into the game. You got Burbage working one-on-one on Pleasant, the best defensive back they had. An advantage that Burbage had, he knew when the ball was coming. Pleasant slipped on the wet turf. Burbage had time to wait on the ball right here. As the ball falls in, you got Pleasant who had slipped down, and he made the great reception.
1st and 10. Bushy takes the ball, and he continues churning his legs until he gets inside the 15. The affections of the fans can sometimes be fickle. They have changed from the first half to a quiet third quarter, and now they're very supportive again.
It's almost like someone put a wave machine in here, and they're just riding with the tide right now. But a good job done on that play by the Ticat offensive line. You saw him with a good surge, driving back that Argo defensive line, who've been putting on a lot of pressure here in the second half with their pass rush. That time, Bushy with a nice running play right up the middle.
The best drive of the night for the Ticats. On second down, it's Perkins, but he won't get a first down. Decision time now for John Gregory.
Big decision time. A field goal would not give you enough points to take the lead, but Donnie Moan playing that middle linebacker spot with an excellent read, scraping, filling right into the hole to meet Bruce Perkins, a big running back, 225 pounds, and Donnie Moan had no problems with that contact and bringing him down. That leg was quite strong on that play.
The fans wanted the Ticats to go for it, but Coach Gregory sends out the field goal unit.
Once again, Gregory went conservative on second down, and he has to learn that you have to go for it. You got to try to pick up the first down, utilize the wide part of the field.
Inside the 40 this year, Osbaldiston has been good on 13 of 15. He's good on another. And it's now a one-point football game with 9:10 remaining at Ivor Wynn.
You know, when I decided to go out on my own,
Integral part of stopping that drive against the Ticats on that last play. The Iron Man sitting right here. You got Perkins from tailback coming here. Moan meeting him right in the hole and stopping him short of the first down on this play. And that's the big play that the Argonauts needed. Donnie Moan stepping up, playing hard-nosed football.
As the Ticats prepare to kick off, 3 Argos are deep. Clemens is the man in the middle. He ran into Wally Zatilny and doesn't get beyond the 25. Only a 12-yard run back for the pinball, but it was his electrifying 43-yard punt return that got Toronto back into this football game.
It has been the specialty teams for Toronto. The big key, you had Jackson with the excellent return after pinball's touchdown, and they have just not been able to get down and cover him. Cofield having an all-world night. 3 sacks in the first half, 2 here in the second to bring his total up to 14 on the season. He's done a marvelous job this season.
8:53 remaining in the game. One-point games have been the story of this week in the CFL. Lonnie Finch was the man closest to that pass intended for Robert Clark.
Clark working that square out route, Slack not getting the ball to him, delivering it a little too short, but Finch had made a great jump on the ball, and Slack must feel fortunate because if he had had that ball on target, Finch might have walked in for 6 going the other direction.
The first 3 games of this Labor Day weekend, Edmonton over Sacramento, BC over Ottawa, and Winnipeg over Saskatchewan, all one-point decisions. Slack on second down. Incomplete. He was trying again for Clark, and Lonnie Finch did a good job of defending against him.
The last 2 series, Slack had an easy time with this Ticat defense. This last series, they come with just a little bit more pressure up front, not allowing him to get to the corner. Clark working hard, one-on-one down Finch in the slot, coming back to the football as you expect for your receivers to do, stopping a little short, allowing Finch to get that hand around him and bat that one away.
Winfield and Burbage are back, awaiting the 3rd down punt by Wayne Lamley. The architect of the run and shoot, Mouse Davis, confers with his quarterback. Pressure coming up the middle. They may have partially deflected the punt by Lamley. Burbage is down to the 50-yard line. A 1-yard run back after a 37-yard kick.
Right up the middle with a lot of pressure from Donnell and O'Shea. You'll see him pushing straight up the middle, avoiding the blockers, forcing Lamley to short leg this kick. He doesn't get a follow through, and it's one of his worst kicks of the night. You'll see him trying to avoid the rush.
Hamilton 1st and 10. The ball is at the 49. McPherson for Yock. First down at the 41.
Joey Yock doing an excellent job coming into the game here late in the fourth quarter. Came into this game with 21 receptions, and that's a very critical reception. McPherson getting his feet under him in the pocket, coming over the top with the pass. Yock beating Moan. Moan cannot run with him from that middle linebacker position. Big first down, Ticats.
McPherson only passed for 14 yards in the third quarter. The hit screen to Earl Winfield. It will produce a gain of about 5. Ken Benson forced the play to the sidelines.
Winfield working one-on-one on Lewis, coming with the hit screen. McPherson, the ball sort of slipping out his hands, getting out to Winfield. Winfield coming back to it, but Abreu getting out in front with that ever so important block, along with Bushy, allowing him to get upfield and pick up 5 yards.
Burbage goes wide left. 2nd and 5, Hamilton. The ball is at the Argo 36. McPherson being chased by Campbell. He throws to the sidelines. Winfield can't hang on.
Winfield complaining that Lewis might have been there just a step early on that one. Winfield working back to his quarterback, McPherson. Lewis stumbling, and he gets there. He does get there a step early, gets that left forearm in the back of Winfield. Disrupted his timing just a little bit, but Osbaldiston with a 42-yard attempt.
And Osbaldiston, as I mentioned earlier in the telecast, hasn't had a great deal of success this year from outside the 40-yard line. A 42-yard kick to give the Ticats the lead. It's wide. Finbaugh gets to the goal line and is forced back. Or are they ruling that he was stopped at the 1? That's the call with 6:09 remaining.
The Twin Blade. Calgary earlier today, a sellout crowd on hand at McMahon Stadium to watch the Stampeders handle the Eskimos 33-13, and so the Stamps remain perfect on the season. 10-0 now, and Don, as you said earlier, looks like single-point games are in style this week in the East Division.
Well, the Argos are backed up to their own 1-yard line as they cling to the 1-point advantage with 6 minutes remaining. Slack throws over the middle, intercepted by Dawson. To find room and a path to the end zone.
Reggie Slack with a very poor read on this play, expecting a post route. Dawson picking it up, coming over the middle. The receiver had not come inside. He stayed outside. But as you look at Dawson coming back across the field, you'll see Wright with that crushing block right there that allowed Dawson to get to the corner, walk into the end zone with his 2nd interception of the season and 1st touchdown return.
The Ticats attempting to end a 6-game losing streak. The Argos attempting to win their first road game since October 27th, 1991. The Ticats going for 2. McPherson badly underthrew Bruce Perkins.
Just a horrible pass by Don McPherson. He did not see what he wanted from the defense, and other than risking putting that pass out where it should have been to Perkins and possibly getting it picked off, drilled it into the turf. But the Ticats have to learn how to exercise on opportunity, and they have just made a horrible time of it tonight.
Bill Henry came in as a replacement for Dave Richardson, and now Bill Henry is down.
Looked like he's down with a cramp. You'll see McPherson rolling out here. He's trying to hit Mazzoli up top, but Perkins came loose underneath, and he wanted to go to Mazzoli and just got caught that moment of indecision right there and couldn't get it to him. Bobby Dawson once again playing a great center field position, almost slipping as he catches that pass. And you'll come back and see Jackson once again with that great block, has that convoy in front of him, picking up his blockers as he heads towards the corner of the end zone to put the Ticats ahead again 20-15.
When Dawson initially reversed his field, I don't think he thought the right side was going to open up the way it did.
But he had his teammates gang up with him and set up a convoy for him. And that's what you do when you're defenders. When that ball, you get that Oski, is normally called by the defensive players. When that interception occurs and you hear Oski, you turn around and you become an offensive player all of a sudden. And you're looking for the first opposite color jersey to block. The Ticats did an excellent job of doing that, and they got 6 out of it.
For their next game next Saturday night at BC Place Stadium against the Lions. The Argos have a break before taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at home. Zatilny on the kickoff return, coming right up the middle, fumbles the ball, and they ruled that he was down. A 33-yard run back, 58-yard kick, and a sigh of relief for Wally Zatilny. He operates a deli in Hamilton. He still lives in the Hamilton area, and he said every day he's responsible for taking sandwiches over to his teammates.
So being the new player in Argo land, they're not going to let him walk in there and he runs a food service without supplying some samples for his teammates.
He's making sure they pay for it. I said, what's the favorite sandwich? He says, an Argo sandwich. It's full of bologna. Over the middle for Kip Lewis. He threw behind him.
Once again, Bailey with the pressure late, but the pressure on Slack. And Slack right now is going to have to come up with a big play. He has 2nd and 10. This Ticat defense has found a little bit of new life once again, and they need to come up with a big play themselves. They got to get up in Slack's face, jump the initial part of the route. His primary receiver, they can check off with his 2nd and 3rd receivers in this route.
This Labor Day game is the 2nd anniversary of John Gregory's coaching career in Hamilton. In his first game here 2 years ago, he led the Ticats to a victory over the Argos. Pat Jackson has a gain of 9. Jackson has been a key factor. 56 rushing yards, 31 receiving yards, 46 yards on punt returns. He's done it all.
Well, excellent change up of play calling, and Jackson is down a little bit here. Looked like he might have fallen on the football. But Slack coming with that speed draw once again to Jackson. He has such great vision, his cutting ability as he gets into the hole, those feet churning, able to make defenders miss, picking up 9 yards on this play before being knocked down.
Dennis Meyer was saying he was really excited with Jackson at training camp, and he had plans then for Jackson to be the Argo running back, and those plans were aborted when Jackson was injured in the final preseason game. Jackson's rushing total now up to 65 with that most recent run.
And Slack has done an excellent job of running the ball tonight with that nimble leg of his. You wouldn't expect for him to pull it down and run voluntarily. You figure if he might get flushed out of the pocket that he would run with it. But he's pulled it down on that option run and scored the Argos' first touchdown of the night with that play also.
4:30 is the time remaining. Jackson still receiving treatment. You know, Dennis Meyer was saying, despite the problems that the Argos have had this year, his approach has not changed. He said he has not let any of the rumors interfere with the way he does things. He still tries to keep it light at the appropriate time and take the same approach to everything he does as a head coach. Clemens in the ball game replacing Jackson on this 3rd down gamble. Slack runs the option. He gets the first down.
You know, Don, and sometimes I think people put too much pressure and too much credit on a coach when he wins, and he doesn't get enough when the team is not being productive. The players that you have on your roster are professionals. They are supposed to go out game in, game out, put in the best performance that they're paid to put in. Coaches should not have to worry about that pressure week in, week out. It's not always everything is clicking at the same time, and sometimes, and this has been a situation for the Argos this year.
1st and 10 from the 49. Hazard makes the catch and manages to hang on to the football despite the fact he had Jackson draped over him.
Hazard doing a tremendous job with his concentration on that play. You'll see Slack getting his protection, the fullback Warren Hudson stepping up. Hazard the ball a little behind him, but great concentration, utilizing his hands to catch the ball with.
3:12 remaining in the game. 20-15, Hamilton leading Toronto. 2nd and 3. Handoff to Clemens. He gets the first down to the 35-yard line. So the Argos have a 1st and 10 at the Hamilton 35.
Evans, Dixie.
Well, crowds the league over have improved in this Labor Day weekend. They've announced the official attendance at Ivor Wynn tonight is 21,762. Sure looks to me like there's about 25 here, but you know, I just haven't had time to count them individually. If it wasn't, though, for bad luck down, I don't think the Cats would have any luck at all because it rained most of the day here, and if it hadn't, I'm sure their walk-up would have been a whole lot bigger.
I totally agree, Scott. And here goes Reggie Slack running for another first down. Again, I'm surprised at the way he's running the ball in view of the problems he has with his leg. And after every game, he has to have fluid drained from his leg.
Well, you can see him limping back, but there he is stumbling. Couldn't find an open receiver, but he's possessed enough mobility. Great athlete prior to the knee injury. You can see him with a little air leaking out right there, about to have a blowout going out of bounds. You know, but he made it and picked up the first down. Well, close to the first down, 2nd and inches.
His passing numbers aren't nearly as impressive as they were against Ottawa. He's completed 16 of 28 for 164. But he wouldn't care about the numbers if he can get a victory. He dumps it off for Lewis at the 20. No, they rule no catch. 2nd and inches. Lewis is upset that he was not credited with the reception. And Lewis might get himself a penalty if he isn't careful. Because the Argos are going to go after it on 3rd and inches.
Well, you had one official calling it a completion. You have another official waving it off. He put his hat down where Lewis came up with the ball. You're going to get a completion out of this play for the Argonauts.
No catch is the final verdict.
Well, field judge Al McCone said that it had been a reception initially. Lewis, very close. Can't really see that much of it from that angle, but looked like he might have gotten his hands on it, but nevertheless, it's an incompletion. Argo should have no problem here on 3rd and inches with Slack sneaking this one in, but a critical play nevertheless.
3rd and inches, Toronto. Slack will keep. He took a pretty good hit up high as he dove forward, but I think his momentum should get the first down. David Bailey was the man who made contact.
Trying to slide off tackle. Bailey was knifing in from his outside weak end position and was able to get a shoulder pad on Slack just as he was trying to dive in and pick up that first down. You'll see Bailey coming in there real tight on that slant and knock Slack off balance, but fortunately enough had enough momentum to get the first down.
2:15 remaining. 1st and 10, Toronto from the Hamilton 24-yard line. Hazard makes the catch. No, can't hang on. He was juggling the ball. It looked as though he was going to make the catch, but could not hang on as he went out of bounds.
An excellent job by Slack just getting the ball to Hazard. Cofield had come in very hard from his right end position, was able to get a hand on Slack. You'll see Hazard working on that out route, got the separation from Hazard working hard to the outside, had the ball cradled as he hit the turf. It came loose and juggled it away from himself.
2nd from the 24. 2:03 remaining. This time, Hazard makes the catch. Big first down as he gets to about the 12. Well, that atones for the earlier miscue by Manny Hazard. And he puts the Argos in a 1st and 10 situation at the 12.
Just a short curl route here by Hazard, going 7 yards, setting down, turning back to the inside once he makes the reception. Jackson had given him too much room to work with. Hazard able to pick up the first down, keep the drive alive. The Argos are down in the red zone. This is where you have to be potent offensively.
1:50 is the time remaining.
Dawson
and
is down with a cramp.
Injured Hamilton player Bobby Dawson. The Ticats started the year with 3 straight wins, including a 25-9 triumph over the Toronto Argonauts. They have since lost 6 in a row. It started with a 40-11 whipping at the hands of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers here at Ivor Wynne Stadium. And the Toronto Argonauts have just one victory to show for their efforts this season, a 37-35 triumph over the Sacramento Gold Miners.
You know, in years past in the CFL, and a rule was put into play a couple of years back where players would go down intentionally and take a fake injury to stop a drive, to get their team some time to make some adjustments, to take a breath. Now with this new rule that's been implemented, you have to go out for at least 2 plays, because 3 plays, you would see players tracking on and off the field in years past, but Dawson is down, gives his team a chance to take a breather, also make some defensive adjustments, because Reggie Slack has been moving this ball at will against this Ticat defense.
Ricky Royal will probably come in as Bobby Dawson's replacement, and there he is, number 26. He's been the DI for this football game.
Well, not a favorable task to come in against a run-and-shoot offense that you've been sitting back watching all night long, cold. You haven't had a chance to stretch out. Reggie Slack right now is willing a hot hand. They're going to have to bring a lot of pressure. Get some people up in Slack's face. He's had the time to throw the ball the past couple of passes.
Now the Ticats in the first quarter were able to get some pressure on Slack, but the Argo offensive line has done a better job in picking things up in the second half. 1st and 10, the clock running, 1:40 remaining. Slack will carry up the middle, and he'll get down to the 3.
Great play call that time by Slack. Not expecting the quarterback draw from him. You've seen him on the speed option. You've seen him on the lead draw, but Slack taking the 3 steps back in the pocket, pulling it down, taking it right up the middle. Green doing an excellent job along with Smith of warding off the tackles of the Ticats, getting it down to the 3.
2nd and 1, Toronto. Hazard in motion. Slack gets the first down.
This is the position on the field where the Argos basically are in control of this football game with 1:20 to go. We've seen a lot of one-point games this weekend in the CFL. The Ticats right now with their backs up against the wall. Slack is in complete control of this ball game right now.
Well, the Argos on their previous 2 touchdowns went for 2-point conversions. I think it's almost certain that if they score a touchdown here, they'll again try for a 2-point conversion. Slack will keep. He's got the touchdown.
Reggie Slack came into this game as a highly touted passer. He's going to leave out of this game as a highly touted runner as a quarterback. You know, probably the worst leg of all the quarterbacks in the CFL, but he has shown no fear tonight of keeping that ball himself and picking up critical yardage.
The Auburn product stands 6'2", weighs 220 pounds.
You know, the first 2 years of his pro career, Don, he served under the tutelage of Warren Moon down in Houston, another great CFL quarterback.
21-20, Toronto leading Hamilton. A 2-point convert try. Intended for Clark. It was knocked down by Lonnie Finch. So with 57 seconds remaining, the Ticats have a chance to pull it out.
Well, we saw some strange things happen in Hamilton, in Ottawa a couple of nights ago. there was a pass play where Tommy Burgess hit Jacques Climé, and he punted the ball into the end zone for a single at the end of the first half. Will Hamilton try something like that if they get into the similar position on the field?
You know, when you look back, 3 Toronto touchdowns, had they gone for the convert, which is almost automatic, they would now have a 4-point lead.
And the game would basically be out of hand unless you had gotten in for a touchdown. Dennis Meyer right now feeling a sigh of relief on the sideline. The players are jubilant, having gone ahead. Now, they were in a situation like this 2 weeks ago against Ottawa themselves, where they had a lead. They thought the game was in hand, and a critical mistake was made in the secondary and gave up a deep ball to Stephan Jones for an Ottawa touchdown.
Corus Irvin, who made that mistake, is no longer with the Toronto Argonauts.
Well, I didn't want to mention his name since he had dearly departed.
26-25 on the 26th of August. Ottawa beat Toronto, a touchdown in the final seconds. With the exception of this afternoon's Calgary victory over Edmonton, 4 other games this Labor Day weekend have been one-point affairs. Mazzoli on the kickoff return brings it back out to the 33-yard line, 50 seconds remaining. John Zidell made the tackle on Nick Mazzoli, and now it'll be up to Don McPherson to try and get the Ticats at least into field goal range for Paul Osbaldiston.
Well, he has to be patient, Don. He can't try to go for it all in 1 or 2 balls. He has to try those 7, 8, 10-yard passes, work those intermediate routes, give his team an opportunity to move the ball down the field.
McPherson from the shotgun asking for quiet from the crowd. Knocked down. Keith Costello came over to knock it away, and McPherson threw that one into triple cover.
Well, he locked in on his primary receiver. Everyone knew that he was going to go to Burbridge on that play, and he locked in on him. You had Earl Winfield backside here. The coverage had rolled across the field, left him alone, standing at the 50. There was not a defender within 10 yards of him. If he is not locked in and he's patient, he can hit an open receiver.
45 seconds remaining. 2nd and 10, Hamilton. Toronto leading by 1. McPherson completes the pass to Perkins up at the 53.
That's what a Donnie McPherson has to do, not be rattled. Sit in the pocket, be patient. You know you're going to get hit eventually, but find your open receiver. That's the most critical thing right now, is get the ball to an open receiver.
McPherson will take off with the ball. He is upset at the 48 with 29 seconds remaining.
He has to hurry his offense to the line of scrimmage. The clock will start as soon as the ball is spotted. He needs a yard to pick up his first down. This is a play where he can take a chance and possibly try to air it out and get the big one in one shot here, because he'll have 2nd and 3rd and short if he doesn't make it.
The clock is running. McPherson throws to Winfield. Winfield is down at the 36.
A key point, Don, they cannot be comfortable with the ball right here. Osbaldiston has only made 2 of 9 field goal attempts outside the 40-yard line this year. Winfield working very hard, getting the cushion off the defensive back, driving off the ball, but critical. Moving back to his quarterback to get the separation and close the reception area with the defensive back.
2 of 9 from outside 40 coming into this game. Osbaldiston has missed 2 from 42 yards tonight. Perkins to the 35-yard line, or Bushy, I should say, with 9 seconds remaining. And Paul Osbaldiston is going to come into the ball game to try and win it.
Very questionable play call on that last one. Why not put the ball in the air again? Try to get yourself another 7 to 8 yards and allow Osbaldiston. He has to be thinking about his misses. 2 of 11 outside the 40-yard line. That weighs on his mind. He hasn't had a good night kicking the ball at all this evening.
Both of his field goal attempts that he has missed tonight have been from 42 yards.
And once again, 42 yards. So Ozzie is really thinking about this, and the timeout does not help him out either. You'd like for your kicker to walk on the field and just kick in rhythm, and yet he's going to have an extra 90 seconds to think about this one.
Almost an identical situation to the one that faced Troy Westwood of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers yesterday afternoon at Taylor Field in Regina. He put it through. Lance Charmick, Lanley are in the end zone. They're ready to kick it out if it should be wide. But it's good!
Breathing a huge sigh of release, Paul Osbaldiston had missed his last 2 attempts, and the biggest kick of the night sails right through the uprights from 42 yards out to give the Ticats a 23-21 lead with 5 seconds to go. Concentration.
And the man who is a bit of a wine connoisseur will probably crack open a vintage bottle tonight to celebrate.
Well, it's going to be so deserving that he will be able to do that, and he might want to bring over a few teammates to celebrate along with him. It's been a long time coming. The Ticats have not won a game since the 3rd game of the season, and this is the 4th victory of the season for them, and also the 4th time that they scored first in a game.
Eight defensive backs. Slack is simply going to air it out. Looking for Clark. The ball is knocked out of bounds on the final play of the day. So one losing streak comes to an end. Another continues. The Ticats snap their losing streak at 6 with Paul Osbaldiston winning it with a 42-yard field goal. Scott?
Don, I thought it was the kind of game with a big crowd here that cried out for a hero, and it was. He's often been at Ivor-Wynne Stadium, Paul Osbaldiston. What did you think when you stepped up to boot it?
I was happy we were in a position to win the game. You know, the offense moved the ball. Don McPherson seems to come through and play his best when we're under the gun and things are needed. And, man, what a great job to get the ball down the field. And this is what we did last year to be successful, come through like this when we're down, and hopefully we can take this and just continue on now.
What is it about Labor Day in Hamilton?
I wish I knew. Tell me, and then we can do this every week, because I don't know. I think it's the spirit of the fans. I think it's the enthusiasm in the stadium, and we just can't lose when we have this much support.
I guess you can't put it into words, but try anyway. How badly you needed this win?
I can't. I think hopefully this turns around for us, our season and our attendance, and you know, I'd like to be here 10 years from now kicking a football.
Congratulations, Paul. Enjoy the victory.
Thank you.
23-21 the final as the Ticats pull it out on a 43-yard field goal by Paul Osbaldiston, and as a result, they have ended a 6-game losing streak. We'll be back.
You know, the CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Bell Canada.
Was this not a game for the Ticats to forget about money problems and sundry other distractions? And they did, beating the Argos as they usually do on Labor Day, and they've halted a 6-game losing streak. They win 23-21 on Paul Osbaldiston's heroic 43-yard field goal in the dying seconds. In Calgary earlier today, a sellout on hand at McMahon Stadium for the Stampeders Labor Day Classic with the Eskimos. A one-sided affair. Doug fluted to Will Moore, one of his 3 touchdown passes on the day, and the Stampeders beat the Eskimos 33-13. The Stamps still perfect, 10-0 in a class by themselves. On Saturday, we'll be at BC Place in Vancouver as the Lions host the Ticats. The Lions are a strong 7-3 after their single-point win over Ottawa on Saturday. And of course, the Ticats will be hoping to build on tonight's win, perhaps get back to the form they showed when they began the season at 3-0. Tonight, the Cats feed on the Argos. Paul Osbaldiston is the hero. Beating Toronto on Labor Day is a tradition for Hamilton, and it continued this evening. On behalf of all of us at Ivor-Wynne Stadium, thanks for watching, and good night, everybody.